We're live. Hey guys, welcome to today's stream. It's telling me this is working, but I'll believe it when I see it, Algared. Yeah, we're live. We've been up for 50 seconds apparently. And my wiggly mug's on the screen. How are you today, Algared?
I'm fairly well.
Gotta pretend, Algared, we haven't been trying to get this thing to work for the last 40 minutes. Just remember that.
Well, you've been trying to get it to work for 40
Well, I had
minutes.
to make a thumbnail, and they threw it in the works, didn't they? They released a quad bike just to really piss us off.
They did release a quad bike to annoy you.
Yeah. We've got a couple of things to look at now and talk about. So we're gonna neither of us seen IRC, and we've got a bike commercial to watch, and we've got something to rant and rave about, which is awesome.
and I've got to say, I finally did catch up on the hullabaloo over the release dates and the progress tracker. And my initial response is, what's the hullabaloo about? Because CIG had told us time and time again, this is our best guess. This is what we hope. This is our best guess. This is our hope. These are what we're hoping to get in. This, nothing set in stone. Nothing set in stone. This is the nature of development. You'd see Disco say it time and time again on IRC. You'd see it in the caveat and everything else. And backers would see something removed. Oh, Sergio breaking the promise. Progress is, we're doomed. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. It's
so. I'm just responding to someone in chat. Dave King saying another live stream. Yes, we're doing another one. We're going to try and make. So we've been talking about this for years, me and Algared. But yeah, we're kind of going to do some reactions to IRC on Fridays, and I think Mondays will probably be more AMA. But we might. If it goes badly, we might just condense it into one show. We'll see what happens.
But you do need to run our bot.
I've already done that.
Okay.
But it's also weirdly spitting me chat ID is invalid, so I don't think it's working. So yeah, if it's not working, we might just have to go back to the old method, because I've got a feeling the chat ID is going to change every single time we stream. I might reach out to the gentleman that made it. So Piggles made that for us.
And we're hoping
he's around. But yeah, I've got a feeling I've done something wrong. But yeah, it's just saying chat ID is invalid. So it's probably trying to grab an ID from somewhere else. So yeah, I don't know what's wrong there. But let's test it. So IQ, is this working? Right. So that's what we're meant to do. And then if it is done correctly,
no message has come through on our.
Yeah, so it's definitely not working. So we're just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah, until
Welcome.
I'll just let them know we are streaming and the bot isn't working.
I'll close that one down.
Invalid chat ID over and over. All right. Anyway, so none of that for you guys. Do we want to watch the what do you call it? The commercial first? Would you like to do that, Algared? We'll watch the commercial. So let's go to watch this one, and we've got to watch this one too. So I'll open that. Don't get me started on the stupid names for these things, because we'll be here all day. All right, so back to this scene and over to two people. Transition. Have I go to the right one? I did go. No, I did go to the right one, but I went to the wrong one. So if I turn this off, there we go. All right, here we go, Algared. You ready? You won't be able to hear this. I don't think you'll be able to hear this, Algared. So you might have to watch it on your own computer. Let me know when you've got it up. You know how to do it? Or do you just want to watch it, not hear it?
I'll just watch it blind.
All right, here we go. So they're pitching it through Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I was expecting some joke about him poking the hover bike in her Nomad docking port or something, but yeah, they're pitching it through Valentine's Day. Oh, Algared, you got speakers on?
Yeah, I just killed him.
Yeah, it's all good. All right.
Sorry about that, Colin.
No, it's all right. Did you actually have sound? Oh, that's how
no, I
didn't.
I did try getting sound, but it didn't work. And when you started speaking, sound suddenly came back. So. But
all right, I'm gonna try a real quick thing with the bot. I've got a feeling I didn't run something that I was meant to run. And if that can fix the bot, that would explain why it's my fault. I just had a feeling. But this one, this, and then run this, and then go to back to this and back to this, and then go /start. It said something about invoking something, so that was definitely different from before. So let's see if it's working. The Q test, and now I'll check that channel.
Cute question. What a Gumby.
I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, Algared, talk while I do stuff.
And we're okay. I was sorry. I was. Can you fix my?
Oh, you're reading a fix my. Was that a question in chat?
No, that was one I was posting.
Well, we're meant to be in the live chat now.
That was my. We've
got people here that are counting on us, Algared. You got to get your priorities right, sir.
That was my test question, but didn't come through either.
All right.
All right. Let's have a look.
You can hear the drink. I'm drinking handmade Bundaberg in Australia over 3 days creaming soda. So it's not alcohol, if you're wondering. It's just creaming soda.
I was drinking coffee, but I'm empty now. So
yeah. I've still got a little bit of tea left too. I got a whole podge. We've got 3 hours here. Yeah.
I've still
got. So I don't know. We'll have to work on that. So we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way, Algared. Can you go into YouTube chat and just take you into YouTube chat? Cool. So if anyone's got a question, you can ask questions. We're gonna go through ISC together. Me and Algared haven't watched it, and hence why the title is "Do you want to buy a quad bike?" Because I think you kind of already know where we stand on vehicles if you watch the channel. And Paul's reaction will be similar to ours. Just giving you the heads up. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think that from what you know of it, Algared? What do you think this vehicle's got going for it based on that commercial and stuff?
It fits in a Nomad.
Yeah, but what do we think of the Nomad, Algared?
Well, I know a lot of people think it's a wonderful little ship, but I personally don't like it. I don't like the hover feature of it. I find that crap. I find that doesn't. I kind of feel the whole hover metric for consolidated outlands just doesn't work. And I know people say, "Oh, it's Silas Groner. He's like Elon Musk." And I think, who gives a rats?
Yeah.
In terms of the law, you're talking alien. This is alien tech. This whole hover thing is really souped up alien tech. But
yep. Agard's had a stroke. I've lost his camera too. That maybe I lost him permanently. He'll be back though. Don't worry. I'll talk without him. Yeah. Oh, he's back. He's back. We lost you there for like a whole couple of seconds, Algard. The actual camera went off and everything.
Yeah, I just saw it go off.
Yep.
But the stream is about 3 seconds behind where we're at. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So long story short, the hover bike and the Nomad both feel gimmicky because of the hot stuff, the hover stuff. Yeah. And I think they're doubling down on it.
And even when the Nomad came out, our first impression was this feels and looks like a Xeon bike.
Yeah. I think they've almost done it to double down on it.
It had the language and everything else, and it would have been, to me, if it is kind of that Xeon language, it would have been better to be either from IOPA, from literally the Xeon company, or the Rail company, GapKit, or MISC. But being Silas Kroner's wanky Elon Musk lookalike company, no.
Yeah.
To me,
David Kinghorn in chat says it's good as an LTI token, and yeah, I'd say it's the same, mate.
And I was saying that to you earlier today. You know, when I first saw the price, it's
$25, wasn't it?
$25 before the Australian.
That's a brilliant LTI token.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do with a whole bunch of credits that I've got? I'm going to buy a whole heap of them and melt them, just so I've got more LTI tokens.
You know, so
jeez, CIG.
Well, if you're buying with credits, it's not an LTI token.
Are you serious? Oh, that's
been
dogs!
The case for ages.
Those
LTI
dogs!
only goes with War Bond.
Lucky I've only got like 500 of them in my buyback already, but I give a lot of them away. You're the same though. We give a lot away to other people.
Yeah, I used to use a lot of mine for Crux Cup prizes, which is coming back this year.
Believe it when I see it, Algred. Believe it when I see it.
Slated for March.
So the Crux Cup, just for people who don't know, was a race type thing started by our org years ago, and if they'd kept it up, it would have been bigger than Daymar Rally. But they dropped the ball for a couple of years.
Well, in fairness, we dropped the ball because we were running Crux Cup through Arena Commander. And what we were finding with Arena Commander is it was too glitchy. So you'd get a group started and the game would crash. You'd get people dropping out for the game crashing. You'd get up. So organising and getting people into groups was taking forever, and the game was still glitchy and crashing. And so Arena Commander was just broken. It just wasn't working. And so in the end, we said, no, we just can't run Crux Cup in its format in Arena Commander.
There's a guy in chat, Algred, called Ithamus. He says, greetings from LMI. Where's LMI? I don't know where that is.
I have no idea where LMI is. Unless it's a
tell us where that is, man. I don't know where LMI is. Where is that? I know it's abbreviation for something. Good morning, Ice. Alright, so we're going to watch ISC in a bit. But I'm just heading off to where Algred is, because we got separated again, as always happens, because Algred dies.
I'm just at the ship terminal on the space station.
Alright. So, who has seen ISC and who hasn't? Because I think there's people that have cheated and probably watched already. It literally came out 10 minutes before we got on, but it's taken us like 40, 50 minutes to get ready.
Well, you know, thumbnails and stuff take time.
Yeah.
All good things take time.
And the stuff that was announced changed the thumbnail. So, yeah, I had to redo everything.
Yep.
But anyway. Alright.
That's not really a bad thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a couple people who haven't seen it. So, we'll have some reactions from people in chat as well. This will be good. Yeah. All right.
So Veritan cheated because he just watched it before he saw our stream pop up. But it's lovely to see you here, Veritan and Ravenfoot.
Oh, okay. So Ithamus said it's some kind of Greek island. So there you go. It's a place that we haven't seen before. All right.
It is a Greek island.
All right. I'm going to switch over to click this box. Boof. We're back to the browser. All right. So Algred, have you got headphones on or not?
I got my.
So you should be able to hear it'll be 3 seconds delayed, and if you just watch the stream like everyone else, you'll still hear it, so we'll be fine. All right, here we go. And how do you want to do this, Algred? Do you want to watch it all the way through and then go back and analyze, or do you want to analyze as we go? What do you guys want us to do? Tell us in chat too. I'd almost rather watch it then come back and analyze it, unless you guys want to. I'll put the audio on for the video this time. Are you serious? It's not on? Oh, now I feel bad. Desktop audio. Okay, if I tick that, and then I play just for a second. Yep. All right, you'll have audio this time. My bad. Sorry, I did have it muted. I apologize.
That's why I
No one
couldn't
told
hear
me.
the audio.
Let's we watch. Yeah, that's why you couldn't hear it. That was my fault. I apologize. So how do you guys want to do it? You as we go seems best. All right. So you guys want to do it as we go? Okay. So we're gonna have to pause it, Algared. So just say pause if you want me to pause it. All right. Here we go.
Welcome to an all sprint report edition of Inside Star Citizen. I'm Jared Huckabee, and let's get
He's looking more and more like a Yeti again. He needs another haircut. Anyway.
into it. Following our look at new derelict concepts a couple weeks ago, members of the environment team have begun the process of building the individual pieces that can be used to bring them to life, starting with the big mammoth hammer itself.
Yeah, Algared, we got sound coming back from you, bro.
Sorry about that. Hang on, let me just mute that temporarily.
All right, let me know when you're ready to go again. Because if I can hear it, that means the whole stream can hear it, so it's annoying them too. All right, here we go.
The Reclaimer. Now this is sort of like a reverse white box phase, where environment artists take the completed work of ship artists and then begin to break it down, stripping it of all the extraneous parts, and then bending and twisting the superstructure in ways appropriate for a wreck that's 1, 2, or perhaps even 10 years old.
I'm liking that aging, Algared. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I like the different ones, like you know, they put the vines and stuff on it. Does that mean different planets with different vegetations? So I reckon that means they're going to have a map that kind of looks at the vegetation of a planet and copies said vegetation appropriately. That's how I would do it as a developer. So that could be really interesting. So that so like for example, if you're on Microtech, it would add snow.
Yeah, I do like the way they've got the vines and that it gives that you could have the same wreck, but just because you've got it covered in snow or vines or sand, he's going to change that look. So yes, frequency. I did have an echo. That's because I was watching it as I was watching the stream. It was coming through the desktop.
Well, we're going to have
to. Not my headset, but we fixed that.
Illimith says, because I like the Reclaimer, sorry, you got to see the wreck. Hey, but I also get to see the 890 as a wreck eventually. So we're all going to have the fun times.
What you're seeing here is the beginning.
So you're still getting the echo when I talk now?
No, you're not. I'm not hearing it. So if I'm not hearing it, they're not hearing it. Are you still getting an echo now? Oh, wait. Algared, talk for me.
I'm talking and testing.
Yep. I've got to turn this one off. That's my fault. Sorry. Yep. Okay. You had 2 channels on at once. All right. Test it for me, Algared.
And testing now. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Is it going?
Still getting the echo.
Try again, Algared.
And I'm talking. Testing to see if we've got an echo. Frequency says better. All good now.
No, it's all good. No, I had 2 audio channels on. That was my fault because I turned
because of the delay,
Algared,
of course.
Because I had the channel on for the desktop audio. Algared comes through from Discord, and he came through as desktop audio. I had to turn the desktop audio on so you guys could hear the video. So that's my fault, not Algared's. Anyway, all fixed. Here we go.
Yeah,
I was just going to say,
I do like that look.
See where, you can see the vegetations. They've already gone in and added vegetation. I'm now worried. See how that's permanently green? You'd want that to change from planet to planet, but let's hope that's...
Yeah, and you'd also want that to change with seasons.
Yeah.
So,
well, we don't know if I don't... Actually, have they talked about seasons?
Well, they have in the past kind of talked about seasons.
I hope that's a thing, because that's really cool. That really... Can you imagine that, like a planet's got a really weird elliptical orbit, and so it gets this really weird scene where, like, kind of like what happens in Pitch Black, where all those monsters come out, or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's just a weird one-off event, like once a year or something. That could be awesome. Are you still telling me there's an echo?
Still saying there's a double owl. Hey, that's twice as good.
Okay, so on my end, talk again, Algared.
I'm talking, and I'm seeing there's an echo. I don't see why it would be an echo.
There was. I thought I'd muted something that I hadn't. It should be gone now though. If they're complaining again.
And we'll try. That's right. Double is fun.
I must have clicked it or something. Anyway, all right, let's get on with the video.
A derelict zoo, as it were, creating the buffet of basic forms that designers and other artists will be able to pull from to continue their specific work, building out the various points of interest players can explore on the planets and moons of Stanton, Pyro.
One thing I will say, Algared, it looks like they are using the Reclaim as the test bed for this, because remember the concept picture we saw last week of it as like a base or whatever? So that tells me they've gone through and done a lot of concept work on the Reclaimer specifically, because it was hand-drawn. I think they're using that as the test bed.
Excuse me.
And beyond.
Get that phone.
Oh, you got a phone? All right. We'll keep watching.
It's early days, and this simple Reclaimer derelict zoo will continue to evolve over the coming weeks, in addition to many of the others seen in previous concept arts ahead of their systemic implementation into the...
Just turn it off.
Oh. Do you want to say something? Sorry? Algared?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then why'd you talk? You're confusing me.
Distant universe proper. The team is also exploring early advanced traversal opportunities for some of the...
I just hung up the phone.
I can't hear you, so when you talk, I pause the video. All right? So don't talk unless you want me to stop the video. All right, here we go.
Outlaw space stations currently being built for the Pyro system. If you remember the most recent CitizenCon demo, advanced traversal are ways to get around or through an environment beyond the critical path most people usually stick to. Now, by following a variety of indicators still being developed, including simple things like tracing the path of an unusual cable or scratch marks on the floor, the players can discover these advanced traversal paths designed to lead not just to interesting tactical opportunities, but special loot and content rewards for those who spend a little extra time exploring. As for everything else you're seeing here, this is still very much a work in progress, with only the earliest of lighting, texture, and prop passes being complete. But it's a neat look at how these stations are pushing not just into new dynamics visually, but
Do you want to pause that?
Yep. Go ahead.
I could...
Hello?
You want to pause?
I've already paused, man. It's been paused for like 10 seconds now. We're all hanging on your every word. Go for it.
The video was still running from my end because I'm watching.
Yeah. It's all good.
I like the idea of those advanced traversals. So I like those idea of those advanced traversals where they will help us get through. I also like the idea that, hey, they're building these systems for Pyro, but I hope that's not for Pyro, those abandoned stations, because there are supposed to be abandoned stations all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's the first. The
first link of that.
Yep. Can I just say one thing here, just at the video?
Universe of possibility
is where he's pushing this crate here. Did you notice how it all went blue? So you could theoretically run around looking for things, holding F, and looking for stuff to push. Yeah. So I'd rather that was a bit more. I was rather it was a little bit more sneaky where it doesn't highlight because it's meant to be a secret. But hey, in hindsight, they could do that. Yeah,
a bit like the old.
Yeah, Algared is behind a little bit because he doesn't have a way to watch the stream at the same time because we're on two separate places of the world. You got to realize when we do stuff like this, we have some drawbacks because we are in multiple locations, and because there's two of us, we're at the same restrictions that you guys are at. So yeah, we just got to make do.
Yep.
But that way you get the discussion. You don't get that elsewhere. So here we go.
For additional exploration as well. And like with the outposts you saw at CitizenCon, they won't be assembled the same way each and every time. So you can never be too certain what's around any corner. Members of the environment team also took a sprint to explore something on our backlog, namely the addition of small and medium-sized hangars to the ring structure of some space stations.
Nice.
It's a small touch.
But yeah, me too.
Small touches, they add up to make for a more dynamic landing and takeoff experience as players travel across the Star Citizen persistent
Hey, Hammerhead in a hangar again. Nice.
Let's switch gears here. From bounty hunting to mining, from emergency response to racing to espionage and security, As the reputation system continues to grow and expand within Star Citizen, so too must the interface that represents it. To that end, explorations are underway mapping out the representative icons for some of the various mission type career paths.
So that Algared is interesting because the things they all mention there, some of them we haven't even heard of on the roadmap. So is that, do you think that's a little bit too ahead of itself, or do you think that's a better thing of sign to come? Yeah. Algared?
While I was still waiting for the video to actually get to the point where it stopped. So it's got about a 5-second delay.
Yeah.
So you stop it and it goes for 5 seconds before I even know what you're talking about.
All right. So did you mute me on Discord, did you?
No, I muted you on I muted the video when you stopped it so that
okay.
I don't get that double echo as I'm talking.
Yep.
But yeah, I like those idea of those things that are coming in, and some of them we haven't heard of, and that's a good thing. I really did like that idea of those stations being all those wrecks being modular and not necessarily and not being the same all the time, and having that kind of, and I think the way he talked about it being similar to the stations is that the idea of it being procedurally generated. So they've got the artist go in and do stuff, but then it procedurally generates a rec, and wherever the thing is, and the artist can go in and touch things up if they want, and that reduces the workload.
Do you remember that?
It also does mean it's a lot varied.
Do you remember that episode you and I did way, it'd be like 2 years ago now, that we did on the shop system, that speculation about how they'd eventually player-run shops and stuff inside the space stations? Do you remember that?
Yep. Vaguely.
Do you remember us talking about modular stations and all that? Did you ever think it would come to the level that it's at now? I didn't. I think it was less than that. So I still think we are going to get player-run, be able to buy shops in stations at some point. I still think we will.
I think we will. Part of a reason for that is simply the Million Mile High Club idea.
Yeah.
So the Million Mile High Club is the facility that you own and run. And there are different views on what that'll end up being. But at the bare minimum, it is a shop.
Yeah.
I'd like to think because it was such an early addition that for the owners, it like everything else, it's grown in scope.
I think at the very least now, I think it's a shop that you guys will automatically have rep access to that no one else does. Or other people have to go through a whole series of quests to get to the level, and you guys are just automatically given the top level. That's what I think it would be, at the very least now.
Yeah, the idea of the Million Mile High Club is not necessarily just it's the club itself is the fact that you own a shop, own one of these facilities. That's a totally different idea. But I think the fact that they put those into the game and put the idea of those way back says that they want player-owned facilities. They want player-owned shops. They want player-owned outposts. They want player-owned bases or player-controlled bases. And so I think we will see player-owned shops. And if you think about it, in a sense, if you own a Kraken or a BMM, you have player-owned shops.
Yep. So, Foxylicious in chat is suggesting we use a certain thing called Watch Together, so you're not desynced. This is the first time we've done this. Give us a break. But yeah, we'll look into that. We'll take your suggestions. Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yep.
Also, if you guys have questions for us, preface them just for today with questions in capital letters for question and put them in square brackets. And
that'll help us see them.
Yeah, that will see them. But we had a bot written, but it has failed at the last minute, so we'll get that fixed. And that was going to pull it out and put them all in one big thing for us, but
which would have made it really easy for us to put them in order.
Sounded awesome, but
we wouldn't have missed them. But
I've either started it wrong or it's pipped at the post, so we'll see what happens. All right, back to the video.
Currently in development for the persistent universe. Now, in a recent sprint, icons for several more reputation paths
plans of mice and men
were proposed, including kidnapping, hauling, smuggling, and theft. Now, these aren't the full array of possible reputation paths, just a few that the UI team is currently making icons for. But we'll be covering more about this massive expansion of the reputation system and the various
Just have a look at some of those smuggling options down there, Algared. There are actually like 3 different ones just for smuggling alone. And then you got different ones for salvage. So, oh wow. So they're actually, so are they just different organizations, or are they different types of smuggling is my point. So yeah, that just shows you a fair bit of variety. And we've been saying that for a while, haven't we? Like how the MSR, the Retaliator, and the even the Taurus, you know, there's different ships that do it in different ways and stuff like that.
And you just look at the hauling there, like you got the idea. I imagine the first one looks like it's box delivery type stuff. Then you've looked like you've probably got a different form. So the fact that you've got different styles of hauling, the fact that you've got different styles of salvage.
Well, it looks like,
and we've talked about salvage being different as well. You know, the idea of,
well, it looks like one's cargo and one's ore, Algared, and I think the other is salvage. So I think there is a salvage hauling, a cargo hauling, and a mineral hauling. So yeah, there's definitely,
that would make sense.
Definitely some different ones there.
But even if you look at salvage, we've talked about, you know, when you go into a ship, you've got to rip out the components that are working.
So there's probably a component one, a processed and unprocessed or something like that. So yeah, we'll learn those all in given time. But yeah, even things like security and hired muscle. So that's like a we deputized you hired muscle type of thing. So yeah, it's interesting to see. The theft one's interesting as well. All creepy face masks that I have no idea what they mean. So yeah,
I'm really disappointed because there's no variance for kidnapping. There's only one.
Yeah.
Same with emergency.
Yeah, there should be like dead or alive, shouldn't there?
Well, kidnapping, you're not killing them, but I was being facetious. But certainly the emergency response, I think, could be expanded.
Yeah.
You're first responder, you're responding to a legal issue, you're responding to a medical issue, responding to a disaster.
It kind of shows you how niche mining is, though, because there's only one for mining. I thought there would have been more, but yeah.
Well, same for medicine. Medicine is so niche, you know, and racing certainly is niche. Although I could see with racing, you could have the actual racing support. So you know, if you're racing a P52, you really want to.
Someone in chat's talking about smuggling, and that can the Corsair smuggle. And no, the 3 ships I'm thinking of, Algared, is the MSR, the Retaliator, and the third one I had trouble remembering is the Raelian. So you've got your kind of you just run and try and hide with the Star Runner. You've got the actual deception with the Retaliator, because you don't know what type of ship it is. And then the last one is the Raelian, which is just the blockade runner. Brute force just goes straight through. So they're the 3 different types as far as I'm concerned, as in from a ship perspective.
And in a sense, that smuggling idea is with going as far as blockade runner is saying sometimes it's in your face. It's not really smuggling; it's just smashing through. As this printed my statement at the same time as I said it.
I'm looking at these theft ones, and one occurs to me as one of them looks like a guy with a mask and a hard hat on. So is that industrial theft? Industrial espionage. Money theft on the espionage is different. That's a different set of icons. But you've got industrial theft, money theft. I don't know what the square one is. Maybe that's product theft, like stealing a box.
Identity theft.
Could be identity theft, and then that might. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking more like it looks like a box, so it could be cargo theft.
And then paper bag. That's a paper bag with 2 eyes.
Yeah, it does look like a paper bag, so it could be. I don't know, but yeah, I think you're right.
That's what I think of.
Identity theft. But I'm also thinking product theft would have to be one of them. So you got product, identity, and industrial theft. But I don't know. We'll find out in time. All right, back to the video.
Vision types and activities.
Bizrad asked a question. He said, "Raelin can smuggle. Is that because of the containers?" We're putting smuggling, I think, in a whole scope of things. So it's the idea of getting something through when someone's trying to stop it.
Yeah. It's how you get it. It's essentially how you get it from A to B.
So you're either avoiding the security places by them not searching and not finding it. You're avoiding the security by just smashing through them, as we're saying the Raelian will do, just because it's big and chunky and pushes through. And I think with all those forms of, for most of them, any ship will be able to do smuggling. So one of the earliest manufacturers in law used to smuggle by putting the sniff that was smuggling inside their containers of
Yeah, that would be the basic level, wouldn't it? Don't use a special ship, just hide it in plain sight type of thing inside other cargo containers.
Yep, and but most people, I think of smuggling as just being that stealth ship sneaking through, and so that'll be one aspect.
I agree.
And I think the MSR may do a good job of that because it is seen as that smuggling ship. So I imagine it should have some form of ability to do that. But certainly any stealth ship, any ship that's got stealth capabilities, like special stealth skin, or you hit them out with stealth components, will certainly be.
I have to admit, the guy that is making these icons has a sense of humor, because look at the one for bounty hunter. I think that's great. I surrender.
Well, that's obviously taken alive.
Yeah,
Next one.
Yeah, just with the crosshair, or the head's blown off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go along
dead
with
or
it.
alive.
Yeah.
I surrender. Bang! I needed you dead.
It continues. Yes, I can already tell that some of you are a little too excited to build your reputation in kidnapping. And it bothers me.
You, mate.
Meanwhile, the lighting team recently completed a sanity pass on the RSI Mantis cockpit. Now, these sanity passes are essential in ensuring the latest tech and process improvements reach assets that were built prior to their implementation, as well as keep some of the older stuff just looking as good as the newer. Now, this happens on everything, and the Mantis here is just the most recent example of update.
So that's like where we were talking about last year, where they were updating assets for certain ships. Remember where I told you about the Caterpillar, like they updated the pirate skin and stuff like that? That's just them going, this is all good signs, because this is all polished for Squadron 42, right? Yeah. And if we could do this in this video if you want to do later, Algared, but we could actually go through and point out some things that are pointing to the fact that Squadron 42 is coming to an end, as in production of it. And I think probably the biggest one is the hiring of all that new staff. I was watching a Board Gamer video yesterday, and he was going, "Oh, they're hiring more staff to finish Squadron 42." No, they're not. You think about how long it takes to spin those staff up? Like what, 10 months? We've talked about this in the past, yeah. So they are not spinning them up for Squadron 42. They're spinning them up for Star Citizen. So that's a really good sign. A big sign. We'll talk some more about that in a minute, but I'll keep going.
I think you're right. Those backgrounds and building up the staff is saying it's something else. And I think the fact that we're seeing a lot more polish coming in, is saying that's a real indicator. I think that Squadron 42 is close to the end, or close to being.
Space, by the way, if you want to jump in, man, we're in the channel. Just drop in. You can jump in as a voice if you want to join us, man. Totally up to you. Go right ahead.
Just make the visual appearance better than before, but are also more performative and less resource intensive. That's our version of taste great, less filling. They can also serve as terrific training opportunities to pass knowledge from older employees onto our newer hires as the company continues to grow.
So they're using things like this to teach new people, which is a really good sign. And that's all part of the process.
And speaking of growth,
that in the past as well, they'd use something
like the Javelin wreck.
Or even we had the images of the Retaliator, where someone had been given a job of, hey, do what you can with this middle section of a Retaliator.
And that turned into like a large rework because they realized the angle on the outside, yeah.
But it was just sometimes you give them a tool and say, that's what you can do, and play around with it. And I'm pretty certain there's a section somewhere in the development where they just go in and they play around. And I know there was an episode where they did where they had the deformable terrain, and they would just be playing around in his free time and just making explosions that caused terrain to deform.
All good, Space. I said if you wanted to, don't have to.
Yep, we would have loved to have you, but that's life.
I think the main reason he can't do it is then he won't be able to do his own reaction video. Anyway, here we go.
Oh, you're a harsh
Let's
man.
take a quick jaunt over to Orison and look at some new executive offices being developed.
And hey, Sam Groper, good to see you, mate. Always good to see another Aussie.
Now, these structures would be placed out on some of the raised landing platforms and provide a small, self-contained working area for Orizin's bureaucracy, including an elevator down into the inner depths of platforms beneath. Of course, as for what adventures players may one day find in such an area, I'm not telling. Mostly because I don't know yet. I missed a meeting. Let's move on to some ship updates with this look at the continuing final art phase of the Vulture from Drake Interplanetary, where you can see all sorts of the smaller details you'd.
So Algared, I want to ask you, Drake Industrial, we really haven't seen this from Drake. This is a new thing, budget industrial. We haven't seen this. And I don't know about you, but it does look a slightly little bit up more market from a regular Drake, wouldn't you say? Or do you want to watch it? Because I've already seen pictures of this recently. I'll let you watch it. All right, but to me, it looks more up market than a normal Drake. But you tell me if you think different.
I'll tell you when it's past the.
Expect to see while unifying some of the scale reads, where some items in the back half seem to feel a little more chunky compared to those in the front. It's pretty much just tightening things up and finishing them off now ahead of Salvage's intended release later this year. But before that happens, we've got.
So that was really exterior, but in the last couple of ICs, they've had interior shots as well. And they still have garbage bags on the walls in some sections, but then there's other sections that, because it's industrial, like there's actually like a little thing where it does, you know, the crushing thing?
You can stop it now?
You already have. Yep. But there's like actual machinery inside as well for stuff. So it's a little bit more upmarket than I think. It's still low budget, but I think it's a little bit more upmarket than some of the other stuff.
Well, I tend to think Drake is low budget industrial anyway.
Well, they're not really just industrial. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is their first ship that's industrial. That's what I'm saying. It's a little different from what we've seen previously.
If you actually, certainly, if you look at the original lore that they had for Drake in terms of their head offices, their head offices were basically salvage yards. So they were a salvage company they had to salvage and they'd build ships, send them out and salvage stuff, and they'd take salvage from ne'er-do-well people on Outer Rim, i.e. we've got a pirated ship shop for you, or we'll munch it up and recycle the resources. But they certainly had that. We're a recycling company, and the Vulture just fitted perfectly in with that idea of being recycling and salvage. So it was dirty and cheap anyway, or cheap industrial. So I don't think it's out of what they were doing. I think it's just part of that cleaning up what it means to be industrial.
My whole point though is that I having seen the interiors of that Vulture, I was surprised. It's just not. It's a Drake aesthetic, but it's aesthetic that I haven't seen yet in game. So this Vulture for me is a little nice departure, and I do hope we see more industrial Drake going forward. Is what I'm trying to say, because this is the first one we've really seen. The others have all been kind of like just ships or combat ships. This is like their first industrial one, and it does break the mold a little. Is what I'm trying, just a little.
Well, I think it's even more than just being their first industrial ship. It's their first non-combat ship.
Yeah.
And so I think there's that shift. Having seen you've said you've seen the interiors of the ship, and I did, as the exterior did look cleaner. How do you compare that exterior of the interior of that Vulture to the Argo raft or the Argo mole in terms of that? Because I think the Argo is the other low end or cheaper.
Argo's mid tier. So it's basically goes Drake, Argo, and then it's Crusader, Argo, Misk when it comes to industry, and Drake just seems to be crossing the line. So they're going from like a kind of like just a cheap and they're obviously touching. There's obviously going to be a bit of low overlap in all manufacturers, and for some reason, this is their foray into industry.
No frequency. I forgot about the Herald because it's the at present.
Herald is the same thing as some of the other ships. It just doesn't have any of the industry stuff. It's just got computers in it, so it's not really. It doesn't really break the mold. Like if you get inside and you see that trash compactor, excuse me, and some of the other stuff, it's vastly different.
And TJ Jack, no, the Caterpillar in its original concept was an assault.
No, are people not listening to the words I say, Algared? I said it's their first ship that goes into industry. All their other ships are just combat or cargo or very generalized, right? And I guess the Herald's the one exception to that. But again, it's very inside. It feels the same as all the others. But when you get inside the Vulture, it's a step up. There are certain, like you look at that cab as an example. It's got stuff on the walls. It doesn't have, so there's, in the back room, it's the same as all the other ships. But in that front cab, it's got protection and stuff that you just don't see on other Drake ships. Like it's just garbage liners wall to wall in the other ships. This thing has got it's like, oh well, we have to okay, we'll just put plastic liners, but it's actually got wall panels and stuff. Like there are no wall panels in most of the other ships that I can tell of. Yeah,
I think in answer to TJ's question, he's really asking, what the how do we see the Caterpillar? The Caterpillar I see is in game at the moment is primarily just a hauler. It's not an industrial ship.
Yeah. If they came back and did industrial modules of sort, Algared, and then there was like non-garbage bin liners in just that module, then we'd know it's an industrial module. You know what I mean? Because it's got that. It's slightly more upmarket. If you go back and look at last week's ISC or the week before, they showed internals, and if you see what I mean, it just doesn't have the garbage bin liner. So it's just, I was like, is this Drake? Because it felt different. So that's what I'm getting.
And I know you're saying you never considered the Caterpillar a combat ship, but if you go into Jump Point and look at the original design documents for the Caterpillar, it was basically an assault. I think Chris saw it as an assault carrier or an assault ship for the Drake pirates. And I read assault ship and I say that's combat. It may not have been a dogfighter, so it's not a dogfighter, but it was seen as a large combat ship in that regard.
Yeah.
And even in lore, it was a ship. But
someone in chat out is just saying, do you guys actually believe the modules are coming through the Caterpillar? You've only got to watch our ship scrutiny on the Caterpillar to know the answer to that one. But yeah, there's a reason why I don't know how Algared places the Caterpillar, but I played it as one of the best daily drivers in the game, because when those modules come, it's only going to have one module, and it already beats the other ships around it. So and they've talked up to 11 different modules for that thing. So if it only gets one of them, it's still better, because it just has more versatility than anything else straight off the bat. But I firmly believe it's going to get a lot. Yeah,
well, I think that the versatility of the Caterpillar is very similar to the versatility of the Retaliator.
Someone cheeky.
Retaliator's module do that as well.
Someone very cheeky in chat. Where do you place Crusader budget wise? Is it low budget? Because they call themselves low budget in the lore, do they not?
I cannot recall them saying that themselves as low budget.
Well, so let me put it this way: are they above Argo?
I'd probably say in terms of their I don't know.
I'd have to go. No windows, low white aesthetics. They're not above Argo in my book, and I know from the lore I've read that they are. And Paul's told me this as well. They are below Argo, and therefore that makes them the low tier. Argo is the mid tier, and Misk is the top tier. And Paul is who I got it from, Space. So you cheeky buggy, go away. Anyway,
and I'd probably agree with that. Just the simple fact that the Crusader ships just windowless. They feel like windowless holes.
Don't. Oh, look, he's fighting words now. He's going a military provider and a luxury starliner creator can't be low budget. You know, they can. And the other thing is, you'll hear Algared and Paul go on about how they weren't military. They changed that to suit the marketing people, so the marketing people could sell the Ares and the bomber that's coming. Yep. That's what it's all about. It broke the mold on the lore. They broke the law to sell shit.
the bomber makes sense only in the sense of they were providing the hauler for the military, and the military said, "Oh, we could put this in it." The Ares, to me, absolutely does not fit Crusader at all. I'm sorry. Anyone who thinks that it's a wonderful Crusader ship is a moron. And them's fighting words. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So Neredley's making comment at the C2. The C2 does have more cargo than the Caterpillar, but as soon as you start bringing those modules back in, it gives the versatility to the Caterpillar, and they become equal, and it quickly overtakes it. And the Caterpillar has actually got more cargo than the M2. Yeah. Don't get me started on the Hercules series, because you will not win. I fight Paul tooth and nail on the Hercules quite frequently, and he's slowly coming around to my side because the Liberator came out. And the Liberator kind of fucking crushes it. Anyway.
I think Execute is mostly correct.
And
in that assessment.
Did you want to...
just because of the versatility of modules.
You want to go back to when we did the tier list last year, and how I fought tooth and nail to try and prove how crap that ship was. And I couldn't do it because I was being attacked by 3 of you at once. But after the show was recorded, I came back and go, here's the evidence. And I think slowly over the last year, you guys have come around to my way of thinking. But it was...
I didn't think it was a top tier ship, but I was trying to...
You were trying to beat... Yeah, you were very much trying to meet, especially between me and Paul, because Paul's like, it's top tier as shit, and I'm like, fuck no, it's less than a Caterpillar. Like, and yeah, I think that took like what 2 hours, just me and Paul arguing about the. It took a while.
Look, I think that the Hercules will fly better in Atmo because of the style. It looks nice.
I'll give it
that. In terms of versatility. And it can do the land vehicles. But in terms of versatility, once those modules for the Cat come on, I think the Cat will go up and will be and is, as you say, the better ship. Certainly, if they get the lifts going and you can get the vehicles on the Cat as well, then that vehicle transport aspect is also the Cat. But the Hercules is probably going to be able to take the tanks, which the Caterpillar won't. So. There are pluses and minuses in each, but I think the versatility that those modules provide the Cat does, as Execute says, make the Cat better than the Hercules.
Just real quick, if you want to ask a question, please preface it in square brackets with capital letters question, because it just makes it a lot easier for us to pull it out. Okay. I've just noticed a couple of people are asking us. I believe they're asking us questions, but yeah, please put them with questions in square brackets, because it just makes it easy for me and Algared to pull them out. Sorry, Algared, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just think, there are pluses and minuses of each, but the versatility that you get with the Caterpillar, with the modules, will push it above. And it's the same with the Retaliator. Once the Retaliator's modules come in, that will actually give greater versatility to that ship as well.
Yeah, my main thing with these ships that we've seen sold, and we've seen it time and time again, right? And I don't want to go into examples right now, but if you want to go further with me, I'll talk about it with you privately on Discord, whoever wants to talk about it. But mainly, when the ship is the first of its type to come out, it's usually the worst. Right? So when they brought out the Hercules and it transported vehicles, we were speculating that it was the first. We're also speculating the Idris could carry it, and it's now been proven the Idris can.
And we already knew the Idris could, because they'd used it in a vertical spicy type.
I'm trying to make this quick, Algared. We also knew the Crucible was probably going to be able to do it, and I even said there will be other ships that come. And within a year, we had the Liberator. And you have to, everyone will now look at Liberator and go, well, yes, that is a markup step up from what the Hercules was. And so basically, whenever it's the first of its type, just remember it's generally probably the worst, right? So yeah. Tomatoes are a fruit. It's very fruity.
Yep, tomatoes are a fruit.
Yep.
A vegetable is a root.
Yep. I'd also like to add that the people that name themselves them after it are probably Fruity Loops. Anyway. Parker Brown asked a question, Sandgroper asked a question, which ship with modules do you think will get modules first? So the modules thing, let's just address that real briefly. They are not talking about modules because they know that'll affect ship sales. So look at it this way. One of the modules for the Caterpillar that was talked about was a chop shop. So if you could get essentially that's a salvage module. So if you could get a salvage module for a ship that's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, which is the jack of all trades, why would you go out and buy the dedicated salvage ship, right? And people see it that way. Why get something dedicated when I can get something that's more Swiss Army knife? And let's be honest, when you're leveling up and going up the tree, so say you're starting at Aurora and working your way up, you're going to want to go to a generalized ship because you don't know what you want to do. And say, for example, you do take the Caterpillar, you find out you really love medical, then you might go out and buy the Apollo. That's the thought process of why some ships are super versatile, but the jack of all trades, master of none. Algared, you'd kind of agree with that, yeah? That seems to be the process.
In answer to Sangrober's question, I actually think because of that, we'll see possibly the Retaliator will get its module first, because we've already got the troop. We've already got the troop transports in the Valkyrie,
they're announced too.
Vanguard and the other thing.
One of the few ships where the modules are announced.
And yeah, they've sold the modules. We know it's going for a major rework as well. But we've already got the troop transports. We've got the Prowler, the Vanguard version. Not the Vanguard version. The Hoplite. We've got the Steel, which was a Steel. We've got the Valkyrie. So putting those in as modules, now that the sales are gone, no problem. Another module that it's got is the living quarters. Well, living quarters, that's just like every other ship. So
it's a kitchen.
That's not really a biggie.
Yep. And he's lagged again. All right, the one I'll add that Algared hasn't talked about is if they put in the dumbfire bomb. That'll be the new one if they ever put one in.
Yep.
Or he's back.
And if you look at what they originally said the Retaliator was, it was a bomber, so you'd expect it to have bombers. And same with the that was the same with the Gladiator. It was a bomber as well as a cargo, could carry cargo in a bomb bay as well.
Yeah.
So I actually think based on that, I would say the Retaliator gets its modules first.
Agreed. Moondog Monty asks, question, can the Cat have all of its modules unequipped and fly snub nose? No, they've actually stated it's got to have the 4 central modules and the nose in any combination when they have them out. So yeah, your default one would be what
your
is now.
Default is that length.
Yep.
Originally that was the plan, that you could expand and shrink the Cat as needed. But they very quickly realized that if they did that, every version that you had of a Cat, you have a Cat with just a snub, that's a totally different ship. If you have one with one module, that's a totally different. And so, to reduce that workload, instead of making 50 ships for one ship, it was easy just to go, no, you have 5 modules, but you change one module.
Yeah. Thanks for the kind words, Soren Friston. He's just saying we make good he or she is just saying we make good content.
Golly gosh. Thanks, Soren.
The Misk Hull.
All right. I'm going to go on to the Hull A. Here we go. Yep. This is a 10-minute video that we've already turned into 40 minutes, Algared. Isn't that great? We're good at that.
Content.
Yeah, good at that. Here we go. All right.
Barreling towards completion at the end of this quarter, where its final art pass continues adding all the various decals and decorations you might expect. But disclaimer here, those aren't the correct cargo boxes you're seeing here. The ship didn't just massively increase in size. It's just an artist having a little fun. They're also adding...
How'd you find that? I think there goes my phone. But that looks really nice, yeah? I'm kind of happy with that aesthetic. Like the whole A always had that wasp mechanical look, no? What, do you like? Yes, no?
I always did like the A. I always did like the A. I like that. It was kind of that bug. It kind of reminded me of the bug from Red Dwarf. That was a nice thing about the A. But as I was showing that,
Algared, I'm going to drop hesitantly drop a word here that I'm going to give you a whole minute, right? Because I know you're going to go into rant mode when I say this. But the Nomad, and then there's this. Go. Yeah.
I know. Look, I know that the Nomad can carry a vehicle. Okay? I know that, and I know it's an open deck, so it, in terms of a cargo, you've got the cargo crates. They're still exposed as well. But for me, the Halle always had that red dwarf look, whereas the Nomad, it's a gimmick. You know, if you're using hover mode instead of landing gear, then really it's a cheat, because I no longer have to worry about those moving parts in the game. I don't have to worry about putting in all those. You know, I can save space on my ship so I can cheat. So yeah, to me, I just find it not that great. And I know there was early video footage. I think when you saw the ad, the Nomad originally had landing gear as well, and yet now it doesn't. So there are signs that said they kind of pivoted on the design or stuff, and I don't think we'll ever really know. But you know, one thing I was as I was looking at the A when they were showing that some of the mechanics there, it really did feel chunkier and more solid than.
I just want to add a little thing, Algared. Well. The other thing is, we still know you could put a vehicle in a cargo crate and take it on the whole anyway. So yes, it is a tad slower, but there is a way to do it. And I think the sheer amount of cargo that this carries composed to the Nomad completely outweighs the versatility of that, right? So this is a skew more towards the versatility angle of cargo. So you can take a vehicle, you can take it's probably got, I don't think it's got much more guns, but it's a little bit more versatility. But I think at that level, I'd almost at that level rather go fully into one profession, because you would have had your Aurora back there where you needed it, or your Mustang. That's where your versatility was. That you got a bit of attack. That's where the Nomad fits for me. You correct me if you think I'm wrong. Like, I think eventually when the game comes out, it'll have like 7 ships and you have ones to select. I think the Nomad will be back on that $50 starter screen. I don't think it'll be up where it's priced. I think it's a starter ship that's way overblown for its price. They looked at the hover landing gear and thought, oh, this is going to sell heaps, so they upsold it to the point that it upsells some of the more like. I still think you'll see things like the 300 series and the 100 series on that starter screen, and I think the 100 series is to try and break the 300s off that starter screen when the game's finally out years from now.
I think you're 100% certain in terms of 100 series.
Yep.
You look at what the 100 series has got and compare it to the Aurora and the Mustang.
You got the Mustang, don't you? Yeah, so no, the Nomad won't be there. The Nomad is an advanced starter like the 300. No, you're right. But
you compare the Mustang, the Aurora, and the 100 series together, and weapons are similar.
Yep.
Cargo load is similar when you look at the base version. The only thing that really screws the 100i series as being a good ship is the price, because when you look at the price of it, 35, 30, you know, like 35 or 40, 35 or 40, 55. It just goes out of, it just suddenly goes into the next level. It's $5 cheaper than what, you know, well, it's priced at what the same price the Titan and the 300i were when they were first released. And because they priced it there, they pushed the price of those two ships up. So yeah, I really do think, and I've always said, I think the 100 really does fit down at that level. It is a great little ship, and it's probably one of the few starter ships that can at those Platinum Bay bases at outposts.
Yeah.
But what kills it is the fact that it's so overpriced.
I missed who it was. I was reading it, and I've lost who it was, so I generally like to give credit. But someone, Ice DHB said the Cutlass Black. Yeah, much better option in that price pool. Yeah. I'm talking $10, like it's a no-brainer.
Well,
it's more than that, isn't it? $20. $20.
Yeah, $20. And I've said it all the time that I bought several packs of the Nomad starter pack with the the 20k starter cash and all the rest of it.
Yep.
And I bought one for my nephew, and I said to my nephew, "I really hate this ship, but it's the best package I've seen ever released."
Yeah.
Buy a $20 CCU to a Caterpillar.
Other than the ones that were released way back when. It was the I know, I get you. But here's the other way. You can go the other way, Algared, and go back to the Avenger. And the Avenger does the vehicle shit as well, and the cargo and all that. So you can't, it doesn't do as much cargo. Or I think it is very similar. But again, like, I'd rather go to the Avenger than go to the Nomad. So the Nomad's in a really shit spot. And I had a lot of hate for it because it looked like they'd stolen the alien ship. It really pissed me off.
I think they did. I think it does have that alien vibe still. But I would say that Nomad starter pack when it first came out, with the LTI and the skin and the 20k Alpha UEC, not Alpha UEC, but UEC was the best game package that has ever been released. Because it's the only time they've ever had a single ship with 20k UEC. Every other single ship, the most has been 5k.
Yep. They definitely had to upsell it for the price they wanted to sell it at, didn't they?
They had to inflate. They had to inflate things to get the sales in, and that's one of the things that to me said they knew it wasn't a great ship. They really weren't sure how it'd go. You got, in that initial concept, you got 20k. No other single ship has ever been sold with that.
Shadow
You
Snob.
had the LTI. You had the skin as well.
Shadow Snob in chat is saying, I love the Cutlass. I tried the Cutlass and hated it. I fly Origin Jump Works shrugs. Did you try the Freelance or anything like that as well? When you say Origins, I'm assuming you'd have to go back down to the 300 series, because otherwise the jump up to the 400 is too big. I'm assuming you're talking about a 300 series ship there. Yeah, and we do need more starter ships from more manufacturers. So Crusader, don't get Algared started on Kruger, because we'll be here for a long time. But yeah, no,
you did an execute. You raised.
I know. I did it before you did to beat you to the punch. But yeah, there's definitely a few ships that like Algared will tell you, like there's like they had this law and they changed the law for marketing, because I totally agree with Algared when he talks about, so he always brings up the Merlin and that the Ares should have been a Kruger ship, and I 100% agree with him. It makes a lot of sense. Their whole thing with the Merlin is it's basically a gun and they build a ship around it, and look at the Ares. That's it to a T.
Anyway. And you look at the Kruger Intergalactic Company. They are a weapons manufacturer first. They're not a shipbuilding company. The idea of the P-52 was, we want to show that we can build ships. So let's build a ship or put a cockpit on a gun, and let's show that to work. The Ares is basically exactly the same thing. It was a perfect.
Algared, so I'll address this one here, because someone's asked a question. It says, what do you think about making the Nomad ramp fold down like a truck bed instead of retracting it like it does now? I've just got some real fundamental problems with the Nomad as a whole, and I don't think I'm the best person to answer that question, because to me, I would rework a whole shit ton of stuff with that ship. But Algared, what's your thoughts on that question?
It's a hover vehicle anyway, so the second you do that, you kind of, I think you from what it does.
Yep.
It's a ute or an Aussie ute, so to me, you don't have that. You just have your tail bed.
And it does feel a little bit like a cheaper Cutlass, because it's got the tractor beam as well as the Cutlass having the tractor beam. So when you factor that all in, $20, I'll take the Cutlass, because you're literally going from a one-person vehicle to two-person vehicle for $20. There is so much more versatility in that Cutlass Black.
Cargo space. You've got bigger room. Internal cargo space.
Yep.
Internal vehicle storage.
Think about all the little things that you've got the 6 drop seats, so you can use it like a small drop ship. It's just so much more versatile a ship. It can do combat. It's not the best fighter, let's be honest, but that, like, if you're talking about versatility in a ship and they're both versatile ships, the Cutlass, it clearly wins, because it's just better in everything the Nomad does, the Cutlass does better. More cargo, more people, more guns, more vehicles. You can put 2 rocks in a freaking Cutlass. You can't do that in a, I don't know, maybe I have to check the Nomad. Maybe you can put 2 on. But you get my whole point. For $20, it's just a no-brainer. Algared, I'll let you speak your piece on the Nomad.
I think you're right. I really do think, and I'm not a person who likes Drake. I'm not a Drake fan. I'm more an RSI fan. I'm more, I'm probably more an Origin fan.
Just to that, Algared, that's one of the hardest things about what we do, isn't it? Trying to take ourselves out of it.
Certainly.
And most of the stuff we deal with, and it give me a really obvious one, is when people come in and go, "Oh, I like Origin," right? And I have to take the bias out of what they're saying. We've had people that we've done Fix My Fleets with that won't buy ships because they don't fit their aesthetics. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
So that's one of the hardest things we deal with, is trying to remain unbiased. Because I look at all the ships, not at how they look. I always look at their function, because that's the most unbiased way to look at them. Would you kind of agree with that, Algared?
I think we try and look at function, and then we go function price, or function versatility price, and that type of thing.
Yep. And we do tailor it. We do tailor it to the individual though as well. Like if they're an Origin fan, we try to find we'll steer them to that if that's what they want.
True, you can't put a Cutlass in an 890 jump. That's because of the bait, the shape of the bait. But you can get 3 arrows in an 890 jump.
Yep.
But a Cutlass should fit, I would imagine, inside, say, a Polaris.
No, it doesn't. It's too big.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's technically
and it therefore won't fit inside an Odyssey either, because it's too big.
Yep. It's a medium, not a small. So yeah.
So there you go.
Statement from T-Jack: everything the Cutlass Black does, the Taurus does even better.
Yeah,
I'd say there's a 3-person, but I'd also argue the Freelancer does it better, and it's smaller than the Taurus. So,
in terms of, and although T-Jack's question is true, and you'd hope it does it better, because it's like $100 ship, $150 ship, so you're basically paying 50% again. But when we're looking at, say, the Nomad and the Cutlass, the price difference is like the Macca's.
So Shadow Girl, a Polaris, you should never be buying a Polaris at full price. So last year at Invictus, so this is almost a year ago, on the very first day of the sale, you were able to get Polarises for $525, and they're normally $750. Right, so if you take your time and build a CCU chain, and you've probably still got 2 or 3 years to anywhere near type of something that's close to a release, you would have time to get Polarises. Like the record thing we've seen so far is a $95 Carrack, which is just ridiculous. Like they're normally $600, and this guy got it for $95. So if he can pull that off, there is no reason you can get, say, a $350 Polaris.
Yep.
If you just take the time.
And horrendously, people who've managed to get BMMs for less than the original.
Yeah. So Algared and I paid $250 way back in 2013. Well, you got yours in 2014. I got mine in 2013. Yep. But I was the Banner Merchantman's a really weird one, because it breaks that LTI concept mold thing, because it was before that was all implemented. So even though there were people that brought the ship 2 years after me, they get credited exactly the same way, even though I brought my Banner Merchantman on day 1. Right? So there's certain ships that just break molds, and that's one of them. So I've learned to live with it.
Glad you appreciated the Aussie Ute.
All right, so Algared, let's get back to this 10-minute video that's up to 40 minutes. All right, anyway, let's. All right, so we're talking
40 minutes.
Just to recap, we're talking about the guns on the Hull A. Here we go. Yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago. Here we go. Wait, I got to click the play button. Here we go.
The trademark MISC turret underneath the cockpit, and continuing to refine the expanding and contracting cargo grid for all your shipping needs.
Oh, if Badges was here, he just came in his pants. Wow, that was... can we watch that again? Do you mind?
Huh?
It was gorgeous.
And continuing to refine the expanding and contracting cargo grid for all your shipping needs. Now we'll be talking...
Let me see a Nomad do that. Wow, that was great. You like that? It's like an accordion, eat your heart out. That was awesome. You want to do it again? I want to do it again.
Mark MISC turret underneath the cockpit.
That is awesome.
And continuing to refine the expanding and contracting cargo grid for all your shipping needs.
I did like that. That was very nice.
Now we'll be talking more about the Hull A later this quarter before its intended release in Alpha 3.17.
I'd also say the internals are a damn sight nicer than the Nomad. That whole angled roofing of it makes the Nomad feel cramped to me. That I don't get that impression at all.
Yep.
So yeah.
And the other thing with those internals is that they look better than what we've seen in the Freelancer range. The Freelancer range to me always felt cramped.
The Freelancer does need a rework. I think the Freelancer needs to be drop one bed and then game gain a bit more luxury. So I'd uncramp it.
Why does it need four?
Yeah, I think it's that some of the older ships all seem to sit the 4-player metric. Project 27 says, now imagine a Hull E doing that. Exactly. And the internals of all the different Hull series as well. So that Hull A is going to set the ground for everything. Or at least allow us to speculate and project a lot more what the others are going to be. And we've still got the old footage of the Hull C that they did a couple of years ago when they were almost ready to release it and then they stopped. So, yeah.
Moondog Monty asks a question. And we do ask, if you do have a question, please put in brackets question in capitals so we can pick it out. But he says, what's the law behind the cargo containers sticking to the cargo pads? And I'm assuming you're meaning for the hulls.
Yeah. Magnets, isn't it? Grav magnets?
I would say not 100% certain.
It's grav plates, isn't it? They use a gravity suction thing that turns the gravity up.
There are certain things we've got that put him discs are using a lot of Xeon tech as well. Now, admittedly, the Hull series is what actually helped them get that link with Xeon tech, because the Xeon went, ooh, we like this ship. And they actually build the Hull D under license. So you actually see Xeon built Hull Ds in Xeon space.
Someone was joking about a backdoor on the Nomad, but seriously, I actually would like that ship more if you could walk out onto that cargo pad and lower it down. That would be really cool. But and especially if you could leave a gap in the middle to walk back and forward through, that would be sick. No, I'm not even kidding. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I don't like the ladder on that thing. I'm not a fan of ladders as a whole. Like, so I struggle a bit with the Redeemer one, but at least I can't fall off and into space on that one. But like things like the Freelancer, I just can't stand that. Like, especially when we had those glorious stairs that used to have Algared. Like, you know, it's kind of hard to go from that back to just a ladder. Who cares? You know, so it's a bit of a backward step. All right, Algared, do you want to?
Of course, I've got to agree with Artful. Says that the Nomad needs a space doggy to sit on. It needs a blue healer sitting in the back.
Yeah, or something like a 3-headed Cerberus dog or something. You know, something alien.
So we need definitely need a blue healer. If they're pushing for that Ute vibe, it does need it. But if you had access to that back cab from inside, even a little command where you could actually lower the.
We do a Skippy. Skippy, what's up, Skip? Only the Australians will get that one, but yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but the idea of that Ute sitting in the back, that's a typically Aussie thing where you've got, you know, Skippy would be on the front grill. You know?
All right.
Or on the dashboard.
Back to this 10-minute video. Penny Merchantman. Here we go. It's looking good though, Algared, just from this first shot. Let's see.
Of course, in Merchantman news, the team continues white box phase, working through the entirety of the ship's interior in their efforts to fully map it out before going into gray box. You can see some of the main bridge here with the pilot seats up front and the staircase to one of the primary turret rooms above. In white box phase, it's simply about making...
I don't know about you, Algared. I know you're a religious person, but this kind of looks religious to me. No? Do you get that vibe, or is it just me?
I think you're picking up the idea of a cathedral.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It looks like a cathedral.
It does have that cathedral.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that the turret's an altar is kind of funny. Question.
It does have that kind of cathedral look. Sorry if I'm repeating myself.
No, you're right. It does.
I was listening to the stream again, and I was actually seeing you again.
You're prompting yourself.
But it does have that kind of cathedral, high arched ceiling type look. I feel like Homer Simpson, and I know you go.
Yeah.
But you know when Homer Simpson sees a donut.
Yep. So Ice DHB asks, the CCU can be quite daunting and hard to follow for new people like myself. I have lots of support for for me and Al. We're talking about me, X and Al. But has anyone else tried using the CCU game? Yeah, I've talked with a guy from CCU game, and a few other people. There are definitely people out there trying to help new people. I've actually contacted CIG and asked them if we could get an account with a whole heap of CCU so we could record a video to make one, but they don't do that. They don't have accounts like that. So I don't know how we're going to do it. So I'd like to see if I could get in contact with maybe I have to find someone higher up at CIG, like maybe one of the marketing people. But if anyone from CIG watches this, we would love to make a video just on CCUs. So if anyone higher up, or anyone has contact to someone higher up that is in the marketing department, because that's where we'd have to get to see if they can help us out with making a video, and we'd go the extra mile to edit it and all that stuff to get it really polished. We do know they like the CCU stuff. We heard back, didn't we, Algared, through the grapevine, that they like the CCU stuff that we do, and it is very hard to do because we've been in it for so long. You know what I reckon we should do, Algared, when we do a video at Invictus? We should grab a new person that is into it and basically get them to ask the questions as we make it, and maybe then we can refine it a bit more specifically to, de-lingo it from what we're used to and put it into plain speak. That might be a way to go, but
yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
And I have heard, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I have heard that CIG at least do look at the Fix My Fleet.
Yep.
That we've done as well. Which, if it's true, it's a shucks, golly gosh. But I think the idea of doing that works. And I know someone said CIG doesn't care about you saving money. Yeah, they do. They do care about you saving money, because if you can save money here, it means you might spend it.
Yeah.
They want to encourage you to spend money. They don't necessarily want to encourage you to spend once. They want you coming back and back and back.
So yeah, it is hard to generalize advice because we have to take ourselves out of it. And a lot of people think I hate on Origin. I don't hate them. I just want them to do better. And that's why you won't see me a lot recommending them. And Algared owns a lot of the Origin ships, Algared. So I'll let you speak, Algared.
I own all of the. I own all of the.
You tell them why we don't recommend Origin all the time. That way, I'm not being the bad guy today.
The main reason we don't recommend Origin all the time is if you look at the Titan versus the 300i. The Titan is, even if you at their minimum, is exactly the same ship.
Yep.
Similar weapons, similar cargo, similar living expenses, similar living conditions, and yet it's $5 cheaper.
And that just escalates, doesn't it, as you go up the chain?
And that just escalates.
Yep.
You often find that Origin ships, there seems to be this waste of space. The 300i doesn't have that waste of space because there's nothing to waste. The 100i doesn't really have that waste of space because there's nothing to waste there.
There's no space.
The 600i, in its current form, is garbage. The interior is garbage.
I think
the wasted space all over the place.
That's
as if they went.
But that's why they hit it with the 400i, didn't they? I think they hit the nail on the head with that one. That's the most luxurious really ship they've done.
It really did say luxury, had that space, had that ability to. Everything seemed to have a purpose, whereas on the 600i it didn't. and my thought, when I look at the 600i and what they did in terms of what they were doing, it seemed like they went, "Oh, we've got the 890. This is what the 890 does. Let's put everything that the 890's got, not the 980, but the 890's got, and put it into this, condense it." And it just didn't work. They tried to do exactly the same form, and it just didn't work. And I'm reading Negativity's question in chat, and it says, "Am I the only person who can't stand CCs because my hangar looks like a complete mess after CCing everything 500 times? I actually spend more to have standalones so they look prettier." I'm exact same dude. I don't have packs, and I think slowly Algared is surely coming. Like the packs were great in the beginning, they're not so great now. And you would have to agree, Algared, a lot of the ones that we fix are because there's a problem with a pack. Sometimes it is. Sometimes just people don't know what to do.
Yep.
I still have packs, and I still like packs because it cleans up my hangar.
Yep.
And gets rid of a lot of the garbage that's in it.
But you're in a different area to anyone else. Like you're in a lower percentile. Let's just put it that way. He has a lot of shit. A lot of shit. How many? Do you want to tell people how many pages you've got? No, I won't. I won't embarrass you that way. I've got like 15. He's got a lot more than that. So let's just put it that way.
I was dealing with customer service to get some help, and the customer service person was looking at my fleet and thought it was my buyback because it was so many pages.
In certain every space.
Oops. Yeah, so to answer your question, negativity, you got to keep everything in Excel sheets. All right, one more question, and then we're going to get back to video. So question from Forensies. Plus, how can the 400i be compact and still fit the metrics of an AI crew that most players seem to depend on? Yeah, that's true, but at least they can walk around. And that seems to be the main thing. Like, so basically, I think they got rid of the crawl spaces because it was a lot of extra work for AI, where a ladder they can latch onto, and it's almost like an elevator they can go up. So they're following a very fixed path. Where crawling, they would have had to make special animations for the AI and all that, and it would have been a nightmare. Will we talk about this quad? Yes, we will eventually. We will get to it. We did watch it. Like that's what we've got it queued up to do, but we're following your guys' lead. We're getting a bit distracted. Have you not watched either Inforunners before? We go off on tangents, real bad.
We'll answer your questions if you ask them.
All right, Pickles got back to me.
I will say that I didn't get all my ships while the exchange rate was. I did get a lot of them when the exchange rate was all. And the decline of the Australian exchange rate has helped curtail my Pokemon syndrome. But what cured me at the moment was the Odyssey jab number 1 and the Steel jab number 2. I'm hoping I don't need.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. Can you send an invite, Pickles, please, if you hear me, to Algared, so he can join as well. So when you ask questions, guys, from now on, can you use exclamation mark Q? And it should work because Pickles has come in and kind of got the bot working. So that'll make it easier. So I'm just going to do a test one and say Q, this is a test. All right, and if he lied to me. Did he lie to me?
Yeah, he lied to me.
I think he lied to me. It's not coming up.
I tried it as well and it didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
I tried this way. Or is it lowercase q?
It's a lowercase q. Just like how I did it, if you look. I think you lied to me. It checks for the word question. Oh, you told me it was you had to do. So that's why it hasn't been working. So maybe it is working on the other channel. Let me have a look. Nope, it's not working. It's not working on the other one at all. So it's only working on yours, mate. That's all right. So yeah, just put questions in brackets, and we'll be good from there. At least we can check it on Pickles for now. That's fine.
Moondog Mont, been waiting for this SB turret preview, please.
What's he waiting on? He's waiting on the bike preview for 10 minutes.
No, he said he's been waiting for this the size 8, not the SB, the size 8 turret preview for 10 minutes, boys. Come on.
Yeah. Gotta leave you hanging, man. Gotta leave you hanging. All right, here we go.
We want that view time.
Has a purpose, has the room for players to achieve that purpose, and to do so with the signature organic shapes that have come to identify the Banu thus far. Moving down to engineering, work continues making certain everything is symmetric. Now, last time we showed it, the stairs here were getting just a little too pinched, so they've opened up the area a bit.
Have they looked at the 890 jump stairs? They're a bit pinched. But yeah, I'm liking that, Algared. Don't know about you. I like the look, and I did like it when we saw it at CitizenCon. Yeah, I'm assuming you did as well, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Trying to make
look, when they did the video looking at when they did the video.
You're listening to yourself again, aren't you, Algared?
I was, and I then clicked and changed us to not sure where I am now.
No, you're right. Just keep talking.
I killed the video. But in terms of when they did the video, the ISC on the Odyssey, and they did the background of what was happening, 100i and the BMM, and they showed that stuff. I was over the moon about the BMM and the other stuff, and the Odyssey stuff just made me go, oh, nothing. It felt like there was nothing. And that was really frustrating.
2 seconds. All right, I'm just sending a message to Pickles. right, here we
The
go.
whole room feel nice and grand within the confines of the current exterior. And then in the habitation area, you can see the beginnings of a Banu shrine that we'll explore more of in the future.
I'm liking the organic shapes though.
And then here we have the interior turret area we mentioned before.
What? That's like the thing from guy puts on helmet, X-Men, what's the fuck's his name? Not Magneto, Professor X. Yeah. That's like the what they call it, Cerebro or whatever. That looks fucking mad.
Professor.
No, what's the thing called? Cerebro. Yeah, Professor Xavier. But the machine is called Cerebro. Yeah, where it magnifies his abilities. That looks like Cerebro. That looks mad to me. All right.
Which is shaping up to be quite different from any other turret you've experienced before, evoking the same sense of scale found throughout other areas of the ship.
It looks very much like it.
It's a massive gun. And this massive space that houses it is actually open to the decks below it, which should make for quite the view before the turret forms down around you and sucks you up into it, raises above the exterior of the ship, and then lets you pew-pew to your heart's content. Yeah, merchantman people, this one's going to be worth the wait. And finally,
the 890 jump is dead. Long live the luxury king. Oh well, all right. I'll be quiet.
BMM is an 890 killer.
Yeah, there we go. We need to get that guy that said Odyssey killer to say the Banner Matchman's an 890 jump killer.
I probably that's probably not quite true.
No, we'll wait and see. But I also already think it's very luxurious. I don't know if you guys like. To me, that speaks more luxury than the 890 jump. But yeah,
I will agree with Sandgroper.
Mm-hmm.
It does probably appear to be a lot of wasted space in the BMM.
Yep, I will totally agree. But you got to also remember, Banner are a lot bigger than us.
They're not anymore.
They are. They're a head or so higher, aren't they? No. I think you broke up there, Algared. They're about a head or so higher. Banner Mitchman. The Banner, yeah.
Yeah, I used to, certainly I got the impression they were significantly taller because that was one of the reasons at one point they pulled the BMM out of production because they had the metrics wrong. They were using human metrics, but they needed Banu metrics, which meant the beds would be different, the all of the rest of it. But
that horsey guy says, what if you slip off the bridge to the turret? You clearly have not seen Star Trek, the recent one by J.J. Abrams, the very first film with it's the Australian guy that plays they had all the platforms on the ship though, and they're literally falling from platform to platform. That's what's happened.
Yep.
Yeah, Algared.exe is not responding. Yeah, you're freezing a little bit, Algared. It's funny. All right, here we go. Back to the video. Algared's got not the best connection. If you guys haven't ever picked up on that, he lives in an area where they just don't have good net. Eventually, do you even have NBN there yet?
Yeah, we do have NBN. We've actually got NBN.
Have you got like the cable to the home yet?
No.
So contact. No, they do it. If you actually contact them, they will upgrade you for free to cable to the home. So you need to get on that, my friend. Right?
I have to check that out.
And I know you'll have to probe your brother. That's right. I'll help you probe him.
Yep.
That's right. We'll talk about that later. All right, here we go.
Before we let you go, we started this week with derelicts and a mention of those colonialism outposts. So let's combine the two and look at an initiative the teams undertook to explore outposts of days gone past with these concepts that you can see here.
Algared, I'm getting that exploration of ruins vibe. Yeah. Are you getting that?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Clearly what that is.
Yeah. So this might be the start of exploration, trying to find those long lost tribes thing. Yeah.
Well, if you think of the what people are currently what people have done in exploration so far, it's that idea of finding those objects of interest. So I see that as that's just an expansion of that. You've got a settlement, and just like we've got the wrecks, where you're going to have things change. I can imagine very similar, and every settlement wreck will be different.
You will be exploring Rex as well. I didn't even think of that to just after
so
you
you've got
said
the
it.
exploration of Rex, you've got exploration of ruins, you've got, and that's even before you go into deposits, the cave, and the caves. Caves.
Yeah, no,
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Now, one of the many projects the team at Turbulent is working on are the systemic tools.
I just realized, imagine if they do one in a forest and it's got to have all the overgrowth as well. And like, can you imagine like ruins in a swamp and they're all overgrowth? So all that stuff. So take this, the Rex stuff we saw before with the overgrowth on it and put it on buildings. You see what I mean? Like, wow. And the snow. Oh, yes. So I think they're very much going to be using the weather. You know how we saw the weathering of like snow on uniforms and stuff? Same thing, but on buildings and ships. Yep. All right, I'll play.
Will one day bring these to life across the Pyro system. But as with all concepts, artists must...
It's gorgeous.
It's like there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like half a wreck, half a building. Do you know what I mean?
Well, even that, that building there, that is everything. So, in fact, even the last scene.
I'll try and freeze like Algared. Yeah. So anyway,
even that last scene was sunset. Was almost picture quality. It was screensaver type stuff.
So you can actually see things they're going to do in here. So they're obviously going to have debris stuff. So procedurally generated debris. And they've got more bespoke things that they're going to put in as well. But you have to imagine this is going to use the same system as the modular system.
Yep. What I would hope is that things like that canister that could be moved.
Yeah. Shadow Ghost Cells looks like something you'd see in Cyberpunk 2077 actually in the desert. Yeah, I 100% agree. One of the things me and Algared have been waiting for is a full forest planet and swamps and shit like that. And we haven't seen anything like that yet. And you know why? Because it's a lot more detailed and a lot harder to pull off. But I guarantee you, if we end up... Think about Crisis, when we used to see those forests, Algared. You and I have talked about this before, but I'm saying it for the audience. That's the last big roadblock that we haven't seen is a swamp forest planet. And you imagine all the smoke and the fog and all that and the mystery and the danger. Like, think about all the aliens they could put in the water and stuff.
You're really coming from your Hunt Showdown play. You just
that true? No, true. I do play a lot of Hunt.
I can't disagree with you. I want to see those different environments, and I think they're coming. Like the simple fact that the cryo-engineers who came across were kind of given free reign, and that's why we got the massive planet stuff. I think they'd been at CryEngine, they'd been told, no, don't do that. Just keep what we got. We don't need to expand. We just and they were champing at the bit to show what they could do, and they've been playing around in their home, and so
that's definitely a benefit of the project as it is. They are not held back by publishers, but obviously a lot of people think they've got free reign and they're wasting a bit of money. But the more R&D they do, you gotta realize there's also a pass-on effect to other games, because people are going to look at what Star Citizen have done, seen what works, and it's going to overflow in other games. We've already seen it with server meshes popped up in a game called Scavengers. We're seeing some of the other tech as well, but just for sake of time, I'm not going to talk about it. But the tech that is already in Star Citizen is already starting to flow off into other games. So even though we're paying for it, everyone that plays games is going to benefit. So you got to look at the big picture, folks. Anyone that makes a breakthrough in R&D, it flows onto other games.
Unfortunately, we've helped. Well, fortunately, we've helped in that. And part of the idea of the process of backing the Star Citizen was I was sick and tired of seeing
the status quo
AAA games come out that were absolutely.
Yep. And you need someone needs to do that. And if we have to remove a publisher to do that, I see everything that's happened as a plus. And I don't like some people go, oh, it's a waste of mismanagement, whatever. But you got to think of the benefits. Like it costs money to do R&D, and that's just how it is. And I guarantee you, this game will come out and it's going to change the way games are done more than any other game we've seen in our lifetime, because it's just so much new tech.
Yep. Look, I see, and I know I've said this past. When I first saw Chris Roberts say, "Hey, I'm doing this game," I was in. I was all in. Because I played Wing Commander, and I can remember back in the day, you didn't have soundboard, the sound system or the ability to put sound on your computer in your motherboard. You used to have to buy a Sound Blaster card to get that high quality sound.
And you got to buy a 3080 Ti in the middle of a thing where all the graphics cards are top.
One of the reasons that happened is because Chris Roberts' games, in terms of using the actual actors and video, meant that you actually really did want to have really good sound quality.
I would say though it is starting to catch up to it now. I would say that to it. It's a little long in the teeth.
But it was that type of thing.
I'm just gonna ask this question before I lose it, Algared. So a question from Byron Antonas, who says, "Do you guys see that you can tractor beam the new Derek loot boxes?" And no, I haven't.
I hope you can.
But yeah, you would hope you can. So, yeah.
But I was going to go to a question by Mitch, which was, it's annoying to seeing all this pyro content. Do you think we will definitely get pyro and some features in Q4? I don't know about Q4. We will definitely get pyro.
They're aiming for it, and the fact that Disco is talking about the very first episode of the year, he said on our road to pyro this year. Yep. So they are aiming to finish server meshing and all that shit by the end of the year. That is definitely on the cards.
And in terms of the annoying to see all this pyro content, yes, it's pyro content, but it's not pyro content.
At least it's new content.
Everything content.
Yeah, because this will come back into...
We're going to see it in pyro, but we're going to see that filtered into the ruins on Hurston.
Daymar, everything.
Bandit settlements on Hurston, bits on Daymar, bits on...
Nah, Algared's right, 100%. He's right. Yeah, and that's why they didn't give dates. But yeah, you were a bit ludicrous if you don't think we'll see this stuff come back into Stanton and other systems. They've basically said as everything goes forward, so say they make an ice world and a normal world, they can take the buildings of the normal world and then ice them. They can take the ice and put it on another system, but it's even more icy or less icy, or a combination of ice and acid planet. They're going to start cross-pollinating everything. And so as they build out those tools, it's just a toolbox that's going to get bigger and bigger.
And if you look at those ruins and the fluff that was on the ruins, the vines or the snow or the sand, that's exactly the same we're going to see on the ruins. And that means we're not going to see grassy vines in a place on pyro. That's stuff you'd see more likely on Microtech of the planets we've got at the moment. The snow stuff you're going to see on Microtech, or the desert stuff you're going to see on Hurston. So yeah.
Starjump in chat. Which Starjump is it? Grim, Ender, or Starlet? But hello, regardless. All right, I'm gonna get back to the video.
Explore the ideas further and set the goals for those systems to build towards.
It's funny, if we'd played this an extra 5 seconds, I would have cut out all that conversation we had. Anyway, sorry.
And just like the Reclaimer derelicts from before, work has also begun.
See what I mean? Great minds think alike. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
The derelict outpost zoo that will one day serve as the basis for hand-placed points of interest first, then the systemic implementation
stage Grim, thank you.
Development. Now, whether it's brand new or 100 years old, each location is a new opportunity for story and gameplay to be found throughout the upcoming Pyro system.
So yes, everything we just said was what I thought they were going to do, but they actually talked about doing it. But that proves our point. That's them building out this toolbox of things they can do, right? And so the more the toolbox builds out, the more variations we're going to get in all these different systems.
Yep.
And so everything's going to feel less procedural and more. The only and I think Algared, you would agree. The only thing that's a little weird for me at the moment is all the space stations have similar internals. I'd at least like to see different color schemes. I know they're owned by the same people, but I like for example, when we spawn in the Habs, that they're all green. I would have liked to have seen. So maybe it was blue in one and yellow in another. I don't know. I digress, but I'd like to be able to spawn and tell where I am just from the the decor, or at least if it had welcome to Everest Harbour or something in big letters near the elevator, or something like that. Because at the moment I go into my map to tell where I am. I'd just like to be able to tell where I am visually, so I think they maybe just a bit more signage at the very least, and maybe that'll come with the map system.
Look, I think that's going to come. I think because even when I was talking about the Rex and the symbols and the way you'll move around and be able to tell where you're going, they want that stuff. They don't want us to be going, oh, where am I? They actually want us to know, oh, yeah, I'm in this location. So I think that's coming. But in terms of the easy Habs being being the same color, I can understand that because they are the same company. Even the Easy Hab hotel type things on all the stations, they're the same company. If they do different companies, it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to certainly see a different. But But I definitely agree. Different lighting, or even a welcome saying "Welcome to Everest Harbour," or something like that as a voice. Good morning, welcome to Everest, or whatever. I hope you enjoyed your rest at Everest Harbour as you wake up. Would be a nice blowover. But again, adding a voiceover in at that point would just extra work.
Drinkers, jump in voice chat. Come talk, you rude bastard.
Come and join us.
Yeah.
Now that you're no longer streaming.
He plays a lot of Tarkov and yells at people aggressively.
Now that you're no longer Tarkov, come and join us.
I'm actually in game, so I'm just going to switch this over real quick if it allows me.
I was in game, but it logged me out.
It's not going to let me do it manually, so I'll do it unmanually. Hold on. Hopefully that works. Yeah, it did. All right, so I'm in game, right? And here I am at some random location. No one in chat would be able to tell me exactly which station I'm at, would they? And that's my point. So I'd rather it say something like, welcome to such and such here or something. Just very simple to let you know where you are.
Yep.
And that's my whole point. Like, if I talk to anyone, I don't think anyone could tell me exactly where I am until I open the map. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not at Everest. Yeah, everyone's guessing different things, but yeah, Perfect Code got it right. Yeah, I'm at Mikkel 1. So yeah, but the point
it's hard.
It's clear. All right, how can you tell it's Mikkel 1? You just know the place? Is that what you're telling me? Are you serious? Like, you can actually tell that this is Mikkel 1? There's no signage or anything. So you've played this game too much, mate. If that's the case. But yeah, there's a little copy paste going on. But I'm hoping they'll go back and Xeno threats on. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. But Pickles has been a smartass in chat. It just has that Mikkel 1 feel. Piss off. That's terrible. But yeah, my point. The point I'm trying to get to is there's just not enough differentiation, and you can tell when you get out here. I'll give you that. From a bit of loadout, and when you start to see out in space, I'll give you that. But I think where you first spawn, when
you're in the hab area,
it's disorientating.
They're the same. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100% agree with what you're saying. It'd be nice to have some color code to indicate that, or even just signage that said, welcome to Everest or welcome to Mikkel 1 or what.
Yeah.
And not maybe Mikkel 1, but actually use welcome to Sleepy Station or
yeah. So I have to
whatever.
I have to spawn my ship back because we've been so long. It's kicked me out of game twice.
It kicked me out. Yeah, it's kicked me out of game.
So I'll go back to the video now. Hold on.
Before you do that, there were a couple of questions. One.
Yep, that's fine.
From Soren was, when do you think we'll see life forms on moons and planets? Not soon enough, in my opinion. But I think they'll delay that while it's taking up time, while it's chewing up memory. So once we get those things that they can start to
server meshing,
not impact upon player gameplay.
They need more bandwidth from the servers to be able to do that stuff. And think about it this way. The easiest way to think about it is think about how NPCs act now, but how deadly and awesome you've seen them work on empty servers. So it's directly linked. That they're NPCs, but they're just animals. So that matrix.
Do you want So the choice is: do you want to have a really laggy, poor play game experience and have animals and working NPCs, or do you want them to refrain on adding the animals and other things? I think a good game experience. I think they're going for that better game experience.
I'm going to ask Grim a question. Did Starlet talk to you about my idea of Star Jump or Info Jump or Star Runners? Did she talk to you about that at all? No, I digress. We're talking about doing a dual stream just for fun one time, and changing the name up so it's like a cross pollination just to confuse people, and we'll make some weird logo just for fun. So that would be Go ahead.
I'll do the questions that I've got while I see them.
Yep.
Do we think that the Orion will have a small hangar? I hope so, but we haven't really heard.
I don't think it will. I think it'll have a docking port, but that'll be it.
Yeah, it may have a docking port, may have a hangar. I used to think it had a snub ship. I have been told that I did ask the question, and the response was Chris says no. There was thought that there was a drone.
If there's anything, it would be drones or it would be Titan suits. I don't think it would be which you and I have talked to no end about the cutter on the reclaimer.
Yep.
And I think you and I have both come to the conclusion we think it's going to be a Titan suit. Because that way they can go over, grab the components and come back. And if it's not a suit, then it would be a small ship that you can put the components in to bring back.
So in answer to your question, Greedo, do I think the Orion will have a small ship hangar? I will say no. I would love it if it did, but I'll say no. And the main reason for that is because when I queried, I always thought it did have a snub ship of some form.
And I think
I asked the question, and the answer I got back was Chris Roberts said.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, there's no snub ship with the Orion. But then there was the caveat to that was also, but I think it's got.
Redley actually asked that, does the Orion already have drones? And I think it does have drones. It's got mining drones, from what I remember. Have
mining drones, but in terms of a snub ship thing, there was something about it having some.
I think Algared. You know how I'm going to answer this question? I think we do our next ship scrutiny on the Orion. What do you reckon?
Pick up a lot of info on it.
Yeah, we might. So look forward to that. I think that's a really good one actually that we could do.
And another question we have.
Yep.
Totally different tangent is from Shadow Girl, and she said, "What about cloud tech? Do you think they are going to skip adding proper clouds to Hurston in favor of working on new things? I haven't heard them mention anything about it."
I've already seen new clouds, or it looks like new clouds on Hurston already, but I think they definitely will. And I think Orison is the exception, not the rule when it comes to cloud tech, because the whole thing is clouds, right? So I think you'll find any gas giant that we go into is going to be the exception, not the rule. That said, though, 75% of planets in the known universe are gas giants. So they really need to get that cloud tech working to pull those things off.
And I think they'll keep working on Hurston until they feel they've got it right.
Yep.
And that will be the test pace. And then once they feel they've got it, we'll see those clouds go onto Microtech or ArcCorp or the other company, the person.
All right.
How could I forget my name? Paul will be upset with me now. He's obviously got dementia.
Yeah. So I'm trying my third attempt to get back to you before the game disconnects me again. Pad 1. So I'm just going to get going before you get back to the video, if that's okay.
I'm back in game.
You can tell, you're back in game. So we will be getting back in the game shortly.
You sucked me in.
Yeah, double check that Project 27. But I remember a video with what's the archivist? What's the lady? Sherry or whatever her name is? Sherry? You know her better than me because you're a law person. You know the no. So you've got the writers at CIG. The guy Sherry Heiberg or whatever her name is. Is that her name? Yeah, she had a video where she was talking about, and this is years ago. She was saying 75% of the planets in the known universe that we know of. So roughly, the makeup is 75% gas giants. Gas giants are going to be really common, which is good for the Starfarer because obviously it's got to have as much stuff as the miners and stuff like that. So
yeah. When they were doing the star map and the systems, they often went and talked to astrophysicists and people like that to actually work out what would be normal, what type of stars would we be likely to see. And so I think they even said at one point the binary stars were actually more common. Even though we've only got 2 or 3 of them. So yeah.
You got to realize we're in a fixed point in space, so we're not always going to have the most accurate details and stuff.
Yep.
All right, back to the video. Someone in chat remind me when when we're in the right place. It's roughly 10 minutes together, I think. But anyway, we are vertical. Here we go. Oof. Oh, I have to thank Marek, by the way, for that cool transition. Marek made that really cool. Did you notice that, Algared? The transition? You've never seen that before. I've never told you about it. Yeah, I'll do it one more time.
Very nice transition.
Yeah, so he helped make that. So that's out. So and that'll work on the normal show too now. So yeah. Anyway.
So Frito said, Paul said, going back to the Orion, Frito said, Paul said that the Cygnus was once with the Orion, and that might be the case. That big.
Oh, the Cygnus mining drone. That was on the roadmap too. That was on the roadmap. Yeah.
For Squadron 42. Whether that's included as that kind of snub ship type thing. So that was the question. Does the Orion come with a snub ship? The answer was no, but we think it's got some special drone that will help do the things apart from the drones. And the Cygnus mining drone would be the only big drone I could think of. So whether it has that, I'm not sure. Certainly the initial response from Chris was no, there's no snub ship.
Really quickly, Pickles. Really quickly, Algared. Pickles has sent you an invite to his test Discord server, and he's got the bot working. So if you want to go on there, so you can see what it looks like. He just wants you to make sure you're happy with it. He sent you an invite privately. He told me. So yeah. I'm gonna grab Badges and just chuck him in the deep end. You ready?
Yep, chuck him in.
Hey Badges, what's going on? Hey Badges.
He's gonna ignore us now.
He's gonna go all quiet. Oh, stage fright. What you doing, Badges?
Did you steal me from my channel to come up here to
talk to you guys? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can steal Can too.
Monsters.
Do you want me to steal Can as well? I can bring Can up here too. I just throw it in the deep end.
Would absolutely love being live. Let's do it.
Yeah, bring him in. Oh, you see, he just put him. Hey, Can, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad.
Yeah, you're on. We're live, by the way. We just brought Badges in here, and he wants to bring you in. He needed his teddy bear.
And we had said, that, or someone had said earlier that, if you come onto our channel, it's volunteer to speak. So you're volunteered to speak.
Yeah, volunteered involuntarily.
That's right.
That's fine. It's just watching the show live, which means you get a weird feedback loop.
Yes, Algared's been getting that, and it's stalling his brain. It's been happening all day, but we'll figure out a way to fix that. Yeah, we will get back to the video in a minute.
The same question 3 or 4 times if I don't mute the video.
Yeah, because he keeps hearing himself when it prompts himself. It's quite funny.
No, I keep hearing you ask the same question again. So
okay, all right. Anyway, so what are you up to, Badges? What are you doing?
So we've just come out of Khan has been coaching me through a couple of sessions of Tarkov.
Right.
We picked up like a nose.
It was quite funny. To Rat Nagoli, if you happen to be watching this stream, you absolutely deserved that.
Yeah. So that's a game you play a lot. So people could come and join you on the Discord and join you for that too, couldn't they? If you wanted to.
Absolutely. Or, if they don't want to join me, they can absolutely watch me stream it and tell me all the things I'm doing wrong, of which there are many.
I'm sure you'd like them to watch you stream at times, because that would up your viewers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello to people saying hello in the chat.
Obviously,
the Good News is project. I've seen it. It looks very cool.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely does. I was going to ask, do you want to see it? But that's fine. All right.
I suppose we could watch it happen again.
Yeah, I can do that. Hang on. I've got this cool transition too that you wouldn't have seen. Are you watching the stream?
Yeah.
I think you did a brilliant job on that. But anyway, I digress. So we're gonna go back. I just remember where we're up to 9:27, and it's back here.
That's cool. So it's a few seconds delay, so I've only just seen it. That wasn't me being ignorant, I promise.
Yeah, that's so cool.
No, it's what I've been getting all
and continuing to refine the expanding and contracting cargo grid.
A couple more questions
for all
before
your
we
shipping
go
needs.
too far ahead while you're finding the place. And the regularly said, is that 70% of planets being gas giants something
now we'll be talking more about the
going to be reality in the PU or in history? Might be changed to fit gameplay. My impression as they were building the system was that the Lord team were trying to get that, and they didn't get it because like the number of double star systems was not the norm. The number of black hole systems not the norm.
Yep.
But when they do have a system with say 2 stars, or when they do have a system with 1 star, or when they do a system with gas giants, they do try to make sure that they're right for the system.
I know people in chat are joking about the length of the video, but this is what Inforunners is. It's a discussion. So if you're just here to watch the video, go watch the video, because that's not what we're about. We're about learning and discussing and a little bit more depth to it. So yeah, we're trying to figure out what's going on with the game. That's what all we have at the moment is to figure out what the hell they're doing. So yeah, that's all good.
And we're also trying to answer questions as we go. And we've got another question here, which is thoughts on the idea of possibility of a salvager at 700 meters. And I'm not even going to try and say your name. I can actually. Shironenko Neaman asked that question. 300 meters, capable of salvaging a carrack or comparable. I would say that's a retaliator. No, a reclaimer. Sorry.
Yeah. And if they're bigger than so they say they can eat a constellation-sized ship whole. So basically, if it can eat a constellation ship whole, then you just cut it to it's a constellation-sized piece.
Yep.
Problem solved.
And in terms of going through a carrack, if you're salvaging, you're not going to be wanting to just munch up a ship that you find. You're going to first thing you're going to want to do is take out the ammo, take out the fuel, take out the guns, take out the components. Because if they get munched and they boom, you're going to damage your ship.
I like Stargirl's last comment. CIG is busy focusing on dual star systems, but most of us just want the coffee machines to work.
I've literally just seen and responded to that.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
And I'll check Piggle's invite thing when I get a chance.
Yeah.
I'm male. I only do one thing once. And I'm so.
All right. So
Smith, we're answering the question about reclaimers eating or the sort of size ship that would eat a capital ship as salvage. And that was what the reclaimer was tend to do. It would eat ships up to the size of a constellation.
Yep, exactly.
And so you'd have a swarm of reclaimers eating. Like sharks eating a whale,
Now, Aguado has a meeting in 15 minutes, and we have 30 seconds left, or a minute left on this video, so let's try and get through the last minute for him in the next 15 minutes.
And gameplay to be found throughout the upcoming Pyro system. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the process of making new things old and then new again is well underway with the Reclaimer and Outpost derelicts. That advanced traversal means additional opportunities for loot and storytelling in the Outlaw space stations. That the Banu Merchantman continues to make its impressive journey through Whitebox, and that the reputation system is on the cusp of expanding into a wide variety of legal and not so legal activities. Now, don't forget that Xenothreat is still underway, and Coramore is almost upon us with slick, iridescent paints, and hopefully no more Valentine's card contests that I have to explain to my mother. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
I don't often find his jokes funny, but I found that one funny. Alrighty, so that's that done. I think Badgers and Can, you can join us for a discussion on the hover bike. Once I get back from the bathroom, because I need to go to the little boys' room. And yeah, but you guys can get started without me, or you can talk. Maybe answer some few questions in chat.
Or we'll go through and see.
I'll be right back.
Questions we've missed and answer those.
Yeah, absolutely.
See if we can find any more.
I think the next one is: do you think we'll get bigger hangars with multiple small pads inside? Not for storing your ship, just for refuel, repair, rearm, and to nip off and buy something.
Probably.
Yeah, I like the idea of communal hangars, of communal landing zones that are a little bit more connected than the ones we've got at the minute. Yeah, I think there's definitely room for that.
I'd even like the old idea of the hangars, of our personal hangars, where we could invite our friends in. Just to, hey, this is my home. Bit like the old some of the old games where you'd have your home and you'd set it up, and then you'd invite, you'd put someone in and they could see it. I always liked Dark Age of Camelot, the way their housing was. Every house was kind of the same. There was 3 types of houses, but you could actually put furniture anywhere in the house.
Gotcha.
Yeah, whatever. There was no general hooks for you. It just wherever you put it, and you had some really weird setups with tables floating in the air and other stuff. But a lot of people would go through and set the place up and put their trophies up and all the rest. And people would go through and if you open your house, people would go through the house and check out what you did and use your merchants and other things. Love that type of idea.
What about org hangers for that, Algared?
Sorry?
What about org hangers for that as well?
Yeah. Org hangers would be great for that type of thing as well. So, just the old personal hangar where you could invite your friends in, and anyone who's an old backer would at our hangars, and you go in and just go there. And then we had the when they brought out before, and you could go into those and actually run around those and drive your buggies just in those bits. But it'd be nice to have not only hangars that were personal that you come in and say, hey, this is like my flare, but actually hangars in game which could invite people into the personal aspects as well. So, and that's kind of like personal property. So I'd like that idea, but
what did I miss?
See bigger hangars for multiple. I think we're answering Greedo's question on hangars. Yeah, and I think not necessarily storing ship, but places where you can rearm and do stuff and hang out with people. Yeah.
And also, and Ridley, stop hiding. You were in voice chat before. Come back to voice chat. You are all good. I really like this question. This next question, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I think it's from NS. I've just lost it again, haven't I?
Yeah,
NS says, if you could voice any NPC character, what would it be? I'd voice a pirate here for a good time, not a long time. Considering the fact that hardly anyone can understand what you're saying, what would you voice?
It'd have to be a Banu.
a Scottish Banu.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Man, it makes me wonder what I would do now. I would be like a Cyan drug dealer or something. Got me any more of those drugs? Or I don't know, something weird.
I think Paul's actually calls me to name a character I'd do. I'd be Old Man Hurston. No. So Old Man Hurston is kind of channeling Jimmy Stewart. My bad impersonation of Jimmy Stewart, but that's Old Man Hurston. So I think I'd be Old Man Hurston.
Absolutely. Given the fact that I have absolutely no acting skill whatsoever, I'd have to go for something UE Navy officer, because at least I know what I'm talking about.
You'd be like a retired one in a bar that's just really bitter.
Thanks, mate. Love you. They've just got... This is it. Chat, this is all that happens. They get me up here, they abuse me, I cry myself to sleep. This is basically my life right now.
Yeah, just like the guy in the bar. See, that's why I said it.
That's right.
If an Aussie isn't abusing you, they don't love you.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, man. Love you long time.
That's right. When we don't...
I love you, gorgeous. Really you know what I really think. You know what I really think. You that's handsome devil, you.
I have the nudes to prove it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving swiftly on. M-Beast model. Do you think slaving will make it into the game, or is it too much controversy?
Nah, definitely going to make it in. It's a highly big thing about... Unless they snowflake out, but no, I don't think they will. With the way Banu does stuff, I think like human trafficking is going to be a real thing. Because if you think about it, if it's like really popular in Banu, like the criminal parts of the human society that try to take humans and sell them, like that, it creates drama there.
They have changed the wording to indentured workers rather than slaves now.
Yeah.
So I think it will be changed.
I think they're snowflake. I think they have already snowflaked out, as you're saying, because they used to say it was slavers. Now it is indentured workers, and you basically sell or buy. They kind of buy your time for a certain amount of time. So I think the idea is that idea of slavery is gone. You're either a prisoner.
Is Paul in chat
doing time, or you're an indentured worker?
I saw someone say, "Hey Astro, is Paul? Are you in chat? Drop in Discord, man. Come chat. More the merrier. You know how it works with this shit. So if you're in chat, Paul, come jump in. I invited Space Tomato, but he pushed out as he does.
I wonder if slaving is something we're going to be able to get involved in. Not that it's something that I would jump at the chance to do, obviously, but I think it's probably one of those universally bad things that we'll get to break up.
Yeah.
But it would be a very, very strong game decision to allow people to embark in even just moving them around knowingly. I think that would be pretty ballsy call by CIG.
I just dragged Piggles in here. Hey Piggles, how you doing, man?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
What are you up to?
We're streaming live, and you're
Currently monitoring the bot to make sure it doesn't break.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for that.
It appears to be working perfectly right now. So
yeah, I must have done something wrong. So yeah, is it working on this Discord?
It's on the my test.
Yeah, it's not working. It's not working on ours. You have access to our channel. Can you make it work on this one? Or not?
Yes, but I don't have your bot API key. Just use the test one for now. We'll sort out your configuration tomorrow.
That's fine.
Use this for now.
All right, Can. Since you are here, Can, what is your hot take on the quad bike, a hover quad, as we now look at it on screen?
Well, I can tell you can buy more than 5 of them at once.
So you brought a lot of LTI tokens, I take it then?
You can buy them in batches of 5, but you can't buy more than 5.
Yeah, that's normal.
Oh, yeah.
That was like buying Warbond CCQs back in the day. It was limit of 5.
Yeah. I think this image tells me they really want you to buy a Nomad with it, somehow. I don't know.
Yep.
Yes. Now, where could you get that impression?
Oh, I've got no idea, because they didn't sell a lot of Nomads. Like, I know there's a lot of people. There are people that love the Nomad, but I think you would agree with me. These are people that didn't know the Hull A existed, and because the Hull A wasn't in game. Yeah, and that's
There's also a discounted pack with the hover quad and the Nomad.
Was it half price? Then I don't care.
Wow. I look at the hover quad in the back.
Hush, but fair.
I look at in that picture there, the hover quad in the back of the Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
And that hover quad is pretty big.
I'd say it's as big as a rock.
Also fits, yeah, when a rock fills that area as well. So it's a big. It's not a bike. It is a quad.
Yeah.
I
can tell you right now, these graphics have been touched up too because it's got orange underlighting, and that orange underlighting does not come by default. So whoever's done this, that image is photoshopped. So don't believe everything you see. That's a very nice one though. Anyway, your thoughts, Badges, on the hover quad? He loves it.
So my hot take is going to be exactly that. I like it purely because it's aimed entirely not at combat.
Yeah, it is a bit different, isn't it?
Other stuff in the game.
If
shields.
I think can I just say, I know I asked you your point, but I think we'd all say vehicles are a bad thing from an Inforunners perspective. But as vehicles go, so let's look at the positives as a vehicle. So yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all right. It's one of those things that I like it when it hints at non-combat stuff because it kind of indicates that they're still planning to give that just as much attention as they are all of the combat stuff, and that's exciting because it creates a universe where there's space for everyone else. The PvP guys will like it because it gives them people to go and kick, beat up. PvE guys
gives them butterflies that they can rip the wings off. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm just wow.
Said as much there, Algared, but all right, yeah.
I've been picking up an old political comment from one of our politicians.
Yeah,
if you're the type of person who likes plucking the wings of dying butterflies, then this person's your man.
Oh wow.
I think it was Paul Keating who's that lovely guy.
That sounds like a thing Paul Keating would say. Yeah.
I'm quite excited, unless anyone's already done it, in which case let us know. But to put this in the Connie, because the last hover vehicles I tried to put in the Connie would affect the sides of the vehicle ramp, and before you knew it, you were upside down and exploding. So I'm really hoping that with the rework and with this thing in particular, it's a more satisfying experience all round. But yeah, if nothing else, a £25 LTI token is chef's kiss.
Okay, Piggles, your thoughts on the hover quad? Did you hear, Bo?
Yeah, I kind of like it.
You like anything, but you're one of those, like, this is where me and Piggles never agree, right? He is very much a luxury guy. Would you tag yourself as a luxury guy, Piggles? Because I would.
I wouldn't really go luxury.
Tell
people if I think it looks
tell
cool.
Tell the people the ships that you own. That'll put it. Let them know.
To.
Yeah. He owns 100i. I'll put it that way. That tells you everything you need to know.
Cool.
Crazy lunatic.
It looks cool.
Crazy lunatic.
I'm sorry for having taste in looks. Jesus, I wasn't sold on the Bobber Quad initially, but that pink skin looked really cool, so I may not have gotten one.
That is the
and it was
Valentine's
25 quid. So
one that's
only 25 quid. So
the one that's mine is definitely this one, because that's Execute colors right there. So
Pickles, you
I
would
did quite
absolutely
like
rock
the
that
white
skin.
and I'd nail that pink skin. I did quite like the white and brown one as well.
It's not actually listed in those 4. It's only in this one. What's it called? Love Struck paint? Wait, so that's it individually. So we've got to wait, let it load. All right, $5. The other thing is they're probably there's some of them that are limited, and I'd say that Love Struck one is probably one of them.
Yes, it says at the bottom. It's got in the picture.
Yeah, so limited time. So the ones to pick up are those 3. Right, and I'm going to show you what I do. Right, so if you so even if you don't want it, but you've got credit sitting around, right, you add to cart, and I did this, by the way, with the all the Thingo ones, and it didn't add that one. Let's try it. Add, but and I don't particularly like these skins myself, but this is how you reserve skins if you want to have them at a later date, right? So I'm going to buy them all with credit. So I've obviously got to do Australian stuff. So if I go in here, it's got GST. No, not coupon code. What do I want?
You're not buying with
credit. You can't buy their war bond. You have to buy with cash. Those dirty dogs. Wow, so you can't buy them with credit. So normally what I do was buy them with credits and then melt them, and I can buy them back at another time. But these are they've made them war bond only. Wow. That's dirty.
You're not signed in.
Oh, I'm not signed in? I am not
signed in. You can't buy it.
That's why. All right, you're all going to know my real name now, but that's fine. I bought
them with credit earlier today.
Yep. That's my real name, by the way. You can find me on Facebook. I don't give a shit. So, yeah. And I talk to people on Facebook, they have no idea who I am, and then they get in these massive arguments, and I just log out. I just like, see ya. Not going to fight with you on Facebook, bye. But they get really, like... Text is not a good medium to talk in because people get really heated very, very quick. All right, here we go. Store credits. So you can see because of the Aussie dollar, we've got to pay more. So 23, continue. And that should go down to 0.
You say dollar?
Oh, dollary dues.
Don't you mean dollary do?
Yeah, they're dollary do, but it's the same thing as dollars. You get what I mean. Don't get started, pound man. Whatever. So now if we go to my hangar... Right, I will melt these in a couple of days' time, right? So I will, like, I kind of kept that one because I got a Connie to fly with, but I melted off all the other Chinese New Year stuff, and I'll do the same with this. So now when I go back into my buyback, it's no longer limited. It means I can, at any time, I can go back in here and buy these back. So essentially, you're taking the limited and making them well, not unlimited, but you're making it so you've got one that you can buy if you want it back. And then in a couple of days' time, I will just melt them, and they will be there if I ever want them. So I'm giving myself the option to buy them. I'm not saying I have to buy them. I just like the option. So I'm removing the limited tag that they have on there, essentially. Yeah.
But that's those Valentine's Day skins, they're only limited. They'll come back in Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, it's happened every single time. Yeah, so 12 months from now.
The only ones that are really limited are like the Chinese New Year skins.
Yep.
Because next year it'll be different. So last year it was a ram. This year it's funky.
Yep.
So
essentially they added the Saber and the Connie, and last year they had the Nomad and the Freelancer. So basically, but they, as Algared's saying, they made the ones from last year available again. Why are they going to take up the opportunity to get free money? So yeah, again, just buy them and melt them, and you've got them in the buyback there. So yeah. As for my take on the bike, so I'm only just going to add a little thing to what those guys have said, and Algared, you can have your piece too. But for me, my hope, and I haven't checked this, and I guess I could check it. Let's just check it. So my hope is this carries more storage than any other bike, because that's what it has, right? Is this on the Matrix yet? Can anyone tell me if it's on the Matrix?
In game, it should be.
Well, I could always go in game. Yes, that's true. But I'm let's just have a look. I'm gonna go back here. I gotta go to the matrix. What's it under? Development matrix. There it is. Right, so let's have a quick look. And it's probably full of shit because we know it's the matrix of lies, but this is what we have. So quad.
We've got the data file for it, so if you can look on Urkel and other websites like it'll be on there.
Right.
If you can't find it on the matrix.
Yep. Okay. Clusters, systems, West. Would it be under systems? Nope. It doesn't actually have the cargo capacity. Wait, mass cargo capacity 0.00000. They're all 0.
It's not a cargo grid. It's a container, which is why it shows a 0.
So I would hope that this is at least double the size of the Dragonfly to differentiate it from all the others. So this is the cargo ship. You lose your guns, but you get way more cargo. And at the moment, the Dragonfly is the guy to beat because it's so versatile. It's the 4x4, like where the Nox is just a street bike. But let's be honest, most of the places you can take a bike are going to be on a planet. So the 4x4 wins. It can carry another person. No one else can do that yet. And it can, it's got half a CCU that's split into 2. So you got 2/4 CCU saddlebag type boxes. That versatility just can't be beat at the moment, right? So the Dragonfly is the one to beat. But I would hope, pulling that triangle thing that I always talk about, Algared, that you'd pull this towards cargo, but it loses guns and the ability to carry another person from the thingo. And I'm fully expecting, you'd have to agree, Algared, that there's some kind of bike coming that may allow you to have 3 people. So like 1 person on the back and a sidecar. And it's probably got a gun on the sidecar.
I could see several bikes having a sidecar added. I think you're right. Like, as you're talking there, I thought, you're right when you were describing the Dragonfly as a quad. And when you look at every other bike, they're basically cycles in line, not quads. And this is the only other quad we've had. So I would hope that since it's got no weapons, that you would see that it's got better cargo. It would be lovely to see this actually have the ability to have a passenger as well, a pillion.
Yep.
It'd be great to see.
I think it's probably got a bit of the 4x4 as well. I'm not sure about you, Algared, but we'd have to look into that. Because of that, it's got the extra pads and stuff. So, I don't know. My only negative with their bikes at the moment is they don't feel like Star Wars hover bikes. They feel like jumping bikes. I feel like I'm riding on one of those, those really big blow-up balloons, the balls, and you bounce on them. They don't, and they fly too high for hover bikes, and they just, people tend to jump on them. They don't tend to at the moment. I'm not happy with where they are. I don't know about you. All you guys in chat can speak up as well, but I just don't like where they are. I want them. They're way too fast for what they are as well. Like when I ride them, I can turn the speed of this thing down to halfway, and it still feels too fast. So I think they could easily cut the speed of them in half. And that's also taken up by the fact that if you look at the races, they are so... Yeah, they probably should be faster than everything else, but that probably implies that everything is too fast when it comes to ground vehicles. In my opinion, I think they need to scale it back so it's maybe half, and I don't know if that means they've got to slower things down, but like realistically in real life, you guys tell me, how much faster is a motorbike than a normal car? And I would say a good car driver could probably equal a bike if it's the right type of car, you know what I mean? Because it's got more grunt. Or am I wrong in that? You guys are probably more car guys than I am.
Well, bikes will outpace cars.
But by how much?
It's a weight thing.
But by how much?
If no one's limited, the first part is acceleration.
Yep.
It's really hard to make up a straight up comparison without a racetrack.
Yep.
Because cars are limited not only in most of them are limited, but also, traffic.
When I was doing these, I'd have to go check, but I think it was around 500 kilometers an hour. That's way too fast.
Massively.
I would say 300 k's at most would be plenty, and that already puts it ahead of what we have today. They just feel wrong, and they seem to jump all over the shop. So, yeah. Someone in chat asked, hang on. So Shadow Girl was asking about her Polaris, and she said, to someday get a Polaris, I should buy a hover bike and then buy Warbond CCUs from the hover bike, as many CCUs as possible as become available. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. And the longer you do it for, the cheaper your Polaris will get.
So you'd basically start with your Polaris and go buy a Warbond, the closest Warbond CCU you could get to the Polaris, and not bad in. And then you basically slowly just build your way up to that. Full bond.
Yep. And I realistically, almost the more you do of them. So if you wanted a Polaris and a Carrack as an example, it'll work out cheaper for you. But you have to work that out for yourself, what you want. If you only just want a Polaris, then stick to it. But you got to remember, there will be CCUs that come out that cross-pollinate, so you'll end up melting one off, and then maybe use that credit to fill the gap. So there will be some loss there, but then you'll regain it as credits.
And there will be some CCUs that you have to buy with credit just to fill the gaps.
Yep.
And there will be and the only disadvantage of the CCU game is to get the biggest saving, you've got to buy full bond CCU.
And over time,
then you're trying to avoid putting new money in because you've already spent heaps and wanting to use credits to use up credits.
Until
the only way you can get those savings is either using something like a referral token, or
see you, Grim.
buying a ship that is.
I was just going to say, I just want to say this before Grim leaves, so I'm cutting you off, sorry. But until Grim and Starlet and that started doing it as well, there was no one else doing this. And the reason is it's so damn complicated. And if you've ever watched them, I was on a show with them, they had 98 bloody slides. Right? So that's how complicated this thing is, right? And they tried to explain it the best they could, and it is still confusing. And I've tried doing it. I think the only way I'm ever going to get it done is if I can get an account and actually do it. But nobody wants to apply them, because as soon as you apply them, your value is lost. And that's why I'm trying to get CIG on board. And if I can just get them to give me an account with some CCUs, and I'll just give it straight back, whatever, it'll allow us to actually make a video that makes sense. So it does make sense, but it's hard to when you can't actually have the products in front of you. So, Algared, I think we might have to actually... I might pull space. I might have to pull space and Paul in, and actually help them get us make it we'll make it. We'll probably plan it out because we've got a few months before Invictus. Plan it out. Badges. Do you do any editing badges? Can you use Premiere?
Yes, not Premiere. No.
But it doesn't matter. You edit, right? Because I don't do a lot of editing, but I think I might pull everyone in, and we brainstorm the shit out of this one and crack it down and just make. Like, I don't want to call it the ultimate video, but the video to end all videos, and we'll pull in some new people that just don't know shit about CCUs, and they can ask all the dumb questions. Yep. And you need somewhere in there to ask the dumb questions so we don't miss the obvious shit. So, yeah.
Well, I'm happily in a position to ask dumb questions about it, because I know very little about CCUs.
Yeah. See, Grim, might even have to pull Grim in as well. So we'll pull in as many people as we can and try and make like a really ultimate video for noobs. And we always tailor it to noobs. And people get really mad. It's like, well, I already know this shit. I don't need the 10 minutes of that. But the thing is, that's who values most from them, is the new people. We're the old people. We've already burnt all ourselves on the money. We made all the mistakes. So let's pass the money on to who can make the biggest savings. And if you want to get angry about helping other people, then I'm sorry, but I like helping people. And if they've got the biggest amount of money, they've got the most to gain, I've got no problem with that. I'll always help people. I won't not help them because they're new. The more the merrier type of thing. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Back to the bike.
Yeah.
Back to the bike. Mm-hmm. My opinions on the bike.
Yep, go for it.
It looks like a snowmobile. That was my very first thought when I saw it, and it looks good. I don't mind it. I don't mind the look. It is also the cheapest LTI token we've had in ages. And if you look at this value of ships, I think the only other ship they've actually sold on the store that we could actually get fairly well. There is the ES. Why would you get that? Because it doesn't come with a starter pack, and it's a crappier ship. The only other one is the PTV, and you can't use CCUs on the PTVs. That's the little grey cat buggy. Mm-hmm. So this is, I think, the cheapest LTI token we've ever had. So if you're after an LTI token, it is a great one to have. And that's the value of a ship. It looks nice, but it's an LTI token. If you're after a $25 LTI token, go for it. The only way to get a better LTI token is to get a referral. And before we do look at finishing, there are a few questions that had. So I'm going to skip the how much wood could a woodchuck chuck.
I can say it. How much wood would a chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Yeah, but that's not their a question, and the answer is
doesn't that depend if it's African or European wood?
Yes. See, yeah, chuck that back at him. Answer that question.
If you're after organ harvesting, RimWorld is your game. Go for RimWorld. You'll love it.
Yep.
Okay, so and what
does anyone want to die on there? Will we get pyro in quarter 4 hill or not?
Do you guys
I ain't touching that with a barge pole.
Do you guys find yourself thinking of your ship as home when you're in verse? If you spend a lot of time on it, the guy says, Blamsmith says, I've recently been bedlogging in the Herald, and now I don't want to fly anything.
I think eventually that will be the thing, but at the moment, like, I don't feel the tie to my ship as much at the moment because it's too bloody easy to die.
I've been doing that actually. I've been living on board my 400i. I mean, I use other ships for certain missions. You know, I take a glaive out for combat or grab a Hercules for cargo.
How often do you
living on the 400i?
How often do you
let
your butler out of his cage though?
Oh, never. I couldn't risk him getting fingerprints or anything.
There are several ships.
What, you let your butler? You don't let your butler out of the cage?
I couldn't risk him getting fingerprints.
No, I'm talking about Algared.
No.
Algared just said he does the same thing.
That's right. Well, you know, Paulie's my barkeep. I've got to keep Paulie, you know, locked away. Otherwise, he keeps trying to do those revolution.
I've got the worst image of Paul right now. That's a really bad image in a cage in my head. It's just like, oh yeah.
I keep telling Paulie, look, just leave Hurston alone. Take out those outcult boys. They're the ones who are real revolutionaries and dealing with their people.
So Algared lags a fair bit, and he also has the tendency to waffle a lot. And sometimes I have to cut him off because he just waffles. If I don't stop him, he'll just keep going. And I also have to play the bad guy a lot because I have to move the show along. So if Algared's waffling, I have to cut him off. And Algared cuts me off just as much as I cut him off. It's just a part of how it is. It's our dynamic, and we've just made it work over the years. He's used to it. I'm used to it. And if you hate it, I apologize, and that's all I can do. But
I do it to him as well.
Exactly.
And if I want to keep talking, he's talking. I just keep talking over him, just like I am now.
So yeah, it works both. It works both ways. So yeah.
But usually, if we know we're on a time frame, if I start to get on that waffling thing, and Execute does cut me off, I'll either say, "Yep, look, I was actually finished," because sometimes I am.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just stop because I know we're actually on that time.
And sometimes if he really wants to finish what he's saying, he'll tell me off, and I'll let him keep going.
I just say, "No, I'm going."
But sometimes, because the other thing is, I'm always driving the background, and there's a lot of stuff in the background going on. Like I wish, so right now I have like 6 programs open trying to do different things at once. So I'm like, I was trying to keep the game open and all that type of stuff. So it's not. I'm juggling. Algared is the guy that'll keep you guys busy while I'm doing stuff in the back. That's just how it works, and we've made it work over time. Yeah. So me and Algared are.
People get frustrated by it, and sometimes we both get frustrated with each other.
Especially in summer, we both have a temper feed. We're shockingly bad.
We're both horrible in summer because we're both suffering with heat.
Yeah.
And then between the fucking two of them, the rest of us struggle to get wide in edgeways. Moving swiftly on.
But yeah,
Badger's hijacks it. Right, here we go. How much kidnapping is there in SC if it needs its own rep icon?
I was just about to do that question myself, Badger. So, good question.
Yeah.
Well, I know that kind of leads to so the first place I went when I saw that icon was like VIP missions. It's the counter to VIP missions, is it not?
Yeah. And I could see that. You know, your job is to kidnap. You know, I don't see that being the type of kidnap missions of players.
My audio is going up my audio is going up and down because I have turned on the air conditioner because I'm literally sweating like crazy. So I'll try and bring the mic closer. Hopefully that helps. I don't usually bring the mic in shot, obviously, because for visual reasons. But if I turn my head this way, you can't hear me. So sorry, I got to cut you off.
If you turn your head a little bit more towards your mic, it'll hide your face. That'll be awesome.
Asshole. All right.
Savage.
Yeah, savage. Well, sorry. What was the question, Algared, that I interrupted you on? Sorry.
By how much kidnapping? And I didn't interrupt me.
Oh, sorry. Whoever I interrupted. But yeah, long story short, every type of mission is going to have a yin to its yang. Kidnapping is the opposite of VIP. 100%.
And I
kind of hope, Blamsmith, that I kind of hope that what we get as reputation icons don't necessarily mean that they are things that we can just grind endlessly, because that just turns it into any other MMO. It would be really cool if things like kidnap and that is something that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to do it PvP style. But it still gives you a way to track that, and therefore, it becomes something that's very rare amongst players to get high level kidnap reputation. Is you're in the realms of building a name for yourself within the community.
Yeah, it's almost becoming that legendary character.
Yeah.
You want a job done? Go to this person, because they will get the person kidnapped, not killed.
Sandgroper does bring up an interesting point, though. You need kids in universe to do kidnapping. There is a legal reason why they don't have kids in games, and that's because if you shoot kids, it instantly gives the game like an R+ rating. And if you think about it, if they've got kids walking around towns and stuff, they're going to get shot. So they will probably come up with a law reason why kids are not a thing in the universe. But it does look weird when you walk around places and they have all these people walking around and there's no kids. Because no matter where you go in public these days, there's fucking kids everywhere. Right? So it does look a little weird, but they might have something like, they'll bring in a law reason like, oh, you can breed, but they'll genetically grow them to a full-size adult. Or something like that. It'll be some reason. Because they found it got rid of all childhood diseases or something like that.
Or we'll see them we'll see the kids in the cities where, there are absolutely no weapons allowed.
Yep.
Safe.
Yep.
Or we'll be in the Hearst mines, doing that.
Yep. Oof.
I think,
that's a bit harsh, Algared.
To model a complete second
skeleton. Well, yeah, it is. Well, honestly, you could, because they're children, and let's be honest, children are a little bit more generic. So you know how there's a female animation set and a male animation set and armor and builds and all that. When it comes to kids, they can probably share the same. But you're never going to be able to play as a kid, and I think that's why we've never seen them in game yet. I do think we'll eventually see it, but think about the offset for that. You'd have to make them all their own clothing line. You'd have to that's a lot of work. No worries, Algared.
But no real reward, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's just a visual reward. So I think it needs to be there though, because it's glaringly obvious omission to me. But what do you get out of it at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, T-Jack's asked the question in a slightly different way. He says, "Why wouldn't they flake out on slavers when they flaked out on adding miners to the game? The kind of luring gangs in Pyro that could come from a boxcar, children's star gang amazes me." Yeah, I think, like we said when we answered the slavers question itself, is the thing with the slavers is they can make them universally the bad guys.
Yep.
You don't get to play as one, but you get to kill them all the time. It's a little harder to do that with kids.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's a lot of it is just trying to kneecap the gaming press before they even get a chance to talk about it.
Yes.
Because as soon as it's in a game and they can do that negative headline, they will bloody do it. Let's be honest. Yeah, any chance they get to shit on something, they'll shit on it. For the clicks.
I mean, Red Dead. You had the woman that was outside doing the whole votes for women and feminist thing, and then all of a sudden we were all incels because someone figured out they could shoot her in the face or set light to her or something.
Yep.
And it's just like, if you give gamers stuff in games, they'll break it, they'll kill it, they'll do something awful, they'll run it over with a horse.
And that's what real life is like. You can do things and there are consequences, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be this, we make the choice for you. So I'm sorry, but you need to give people choices and then just have consequences. Rather than oh, you can do this and it's bad. Yeah, it's bad, but you should still be able to do it, just like real life. I can go around and shoot 100 people if I want to, but man, I would be in jail forever. And that's how the consequences should be. You break the rules, you pay the consequences. Not this, must only live this way and this is the only way to live. I'm sorry. You are trying to... It's not realistic. And I'm sorry, this is a game. And if you cannot explore stuff like that in a game, where can you explore it? You can't do it it's the only interactive medium we have.
Sorry about that, guys.
You're going to learn more in that interactive medium. So if you go around shooting a bunch of people and you have the consequences where you go to jail and you're stuck there for days on end, That's a life lesson where you can actually not have consequences, so to speak. As in, you have consequences in game, but you actually learn from it. So I'm going to be honest, I think it's a great teaching method. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's what I think. I think you need to have those in games so you can learn real life things. I'd rather someone go around and shoot a bunch of people in game than they, I don't know.
And get a consequence, but actually something to them.
Yeah, rather than do something really bad in real life. Because if you can vent it out in a video game, that's a much safer environment than letting it get into the real world. And I'd call that responsible, not irresponsible. But yeah.
I think I'm not having heard the conversation, but I think I get a group.
Yep.
As long as the punishment.
We're basically talking about how
jail and can't just escape really easily, then that would be good.
Basically, I was talking about how media are trying to shut down all these things you can do in game because they want people to live a certain way, but it's not the way you do things. You got to let people vent, and if you remove their venting mechanisms, it's actually going to make people overflow. They've actually found when you try to conform people fight the system. You get a real simple way that you would understand Algared is where they get a person that, say they're in a religious family or something like that, and they always put the pressure on that person. Eventually, that person breaks out and they don't want to do religion anymore because they were too harsh on that person, right? But then if you give them a bit of freedom and let them choose, they'll probably more likely stay with the family. You know what I mean? So you've got to everything is in balance, is what I'm trying to say. You got to have a bit of good with a bit of the bad and stuff like that. You can't have it all one way. It just doesn't work. World doesn't work that way.
I can understand the concern that if you are constantly surrounded by violence, games or world, you do get descent, and so it just becomes. So I can understand the concerns about.
That's the inverse. You're talking about the inverse. You're talking about the inverse essentially, and it rings true to that too. So you actually want places where someone that's had shitloads of violence that they can go to and have a safe space, right? But that means you have different games. You have a game that's one thing and another game for another thing.
But I think the truism is that regardless of whether it's real world or games or anywhere else, if you surround yourself with a certain behaviour, it desensitizes. And the concern that you see from try to bring in those rules of the game, a legitimate concern.
Agreed.
Lots of children are playing these games where there's lots of violence and it's been desensitized and it's impacting them socially. So you do almost need those checks and balances, but I can also see there's that learning aspect where if I do X, the consequence of doing Z is I'm placed in prison, placed in here.
Exactly.
But if in say Star Citizen I'm in prison and it's a fun experience and I can do escape, that's not encouraging that behavior. Being socialized that person, that's actually encouraging that. There'll
be rep punishments as well though. So
you do want to get that balance, and it's not an easy balance to get.
No.
I think if anyone says they know the balance and how to do it, they're in.
Well, that's why you have groups
I know the balance and how to do it.
Well, you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking
about. Well, I mean, the ideal way to do the balance with criminal gameplay is that you limit very severely access to certain game loops, which is what they're planning on doing anyway, it seems. Is that, by being a criminal, there are certain areas you won't be able to travel to without bringing an awful lot of heat down upon yourself. There will be certain contracts you won't be able to engage in because no one will want to deal with you because of your record. So there's going to be, I think, effectively it's going to be like anything else in life. It's going to be a choice, and you will choose to go the route of, criminal. And I prefer these game loops to these game loops. And hopefully they're just as good at doing PvE criminal or non-combat criminal. So the smuggling, the hacking, the stuff kind of behind the scenes, because both sides need that, right? If I want to do stuff where I'm not directly confronting other players and getting into combat, why do I have to be limited to a lawful side of life because I don't want to get in combat? surely we've progressed past the point where to be the bad guy means more than just, Grand Theft Auto driving down the sidewalk, running people over. Surely we've matured past that point in game design now that we give people meaningful ways of being a non-combat criminal. And something that people would actually go, I really want to give that a go. That sounds great.
And I think it's a bit more than that. I think what you're really picking up is making ways for people without necessarily being criminal.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I don't, and I think you're right. Many games don't give that option. So
you're basically a good and a bad, and that's it. I actually think it needs to be. I'd love to see it so there's like 6 different options. So like so there's like, look at manufacturers, right? I'll use that as an example. So you've kind of got like Drake, and then you've got like right at the top you've got Origin, and then you've got all these different ones in between.
Yeah.
And that's what real life is like. You might go off into one area and it pisses off 2 other people, but the 2 other people don't give a shit, and one really likes it as well. So you could actually kind of pull off into a gradient of people rather than just just one. That would be way cooler in my book.
Yeah, like being against the authorities on Microtech or Crusader makes you a bit of a dick. To be against the authorities on somewhere like Hurston actually is putting you more on the lawful side.
No. You've got it all wrong. We are Hurston. We're quite friendly and caring for our people. We have our company store where you can get all the goods you need. I'm really sorry.
Down with the oppressors. Down with the oppressors.
Oh dear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should have picked up one of those bikes on credit, and we could have just drove around in that for a bit. But yeah.
Okay, so
one if you want to borrow it.
Another question.
You want to join us?
Yeah, I bought one.
Yeah, join us in game, and I'll meet you somewhere on Hurston. We'll have a quick look.
Another question. Someone asked earlier, but
yep.
Solitaire, I believe it.
Said,
but they said the question was, do you think the BMM will be soloable, or will a crew be needed? You're trying to fly most ships by yourself with no NPCs or other players, and the BMM will be no.
Algared, do you want to come down with me to the planet? I think of what we can take. Yeah, you're in game. I already pulled you in.
Yeah, and I saw you pull me in, but I actually had to try and.
I think we'll take a. I'll take a Cutlass Black, and that'll take us down.
Do that.
But yeah.
I'll go back and look at the questions.
Are you at Lawville, Eagles?
No, I'm at New Babbage, but I've got an XL1 in my ship. So
all right, cool. Yep.
A couple of minutes.
All right. Well, me and Algared will take our time getting down there. Algared, the pad 1 for the Cutlass Black, or I can wait for you if you quit. I'll wait for you in the elevator. Yep. Yeah.
I think it's going to be entirely possible that you're going to be able to fly it from A to B, and you'll be able to do some very limited, very slow, very inefficient. Now I'm going to trade. Now I'm going to load her up. Now I'm going to fuel her up, and all the rest of it. But that's not going to be much more effective than any other ship. Of that size. In fact, you'll probably be a lot more effective at it.
What ship is this?
Doing it in a smaller ship.
Well, any ship.
To solo crew any sort of big ship.
Yeah.
Just think about the BMM. You've got that massive turret with size 8 guns. If you're flying it by yourself with no NPC crew or player crew, that guns, in fact, just tossed away a big portion of your ship. Same with the Kraken. Same, I imagine, with the Javelin with
give me a party invite, Execute.
Yep.
So I tend to think that you will. Yes, you can. I fly my ship from point A to B. Or
invite sent.
Can I do?
Keep going, Algared.
Can I do mining really effectively my Orion by myself, or salvage in my name by myself with no NPC? other people. Yeah, you probably could, but you're not going to have anyone be able to man the guns if you're attacked. You're not going to be able to do both the tractor beam or you're not going to be able to manipulate your refining. When you're refining the ore and stuff like that. So, yeah, you could, but really leaving yourself.
What are the mining ones again at Lawville? HDSMS? Is it their mining? I always bloody forget. What's the mine?
Thank you.
There's security.
MS.
Yeah, the security force, and then the mining is M. Yeah, so I'm going to go to Pinewood.
MS.
Pinewood.
Okay.
Eagles?
Yeah, I'll be there in a few minutes.
Yeah, wait, hang on. I gotta do this because I brought this back when SC Leaks was a thing. I saw this in a shop and it screamed pickles. It was in a discount bin. I had to buy it. Little cat toy, dog toy.
I don't even need to see it. I know what it is.
Yeah.
Just from the sound.
Right. Another question.
Yep.
Sorry, Algared, just before you go on, mate. It's been lovely chatting with everyone. I need to go to bed because work tomorrow. But,
yep.
Lovely chatting to you all, and thank you very much for dragging me in and abusing me, yourself.
Anytime, buddy.
Hey, we love you too.
Yeah. See you, mate.
Easy.
Bye.
Right, take care, mate.
Bye bye.
Right. So another question we had was, why wouldn't they flake out on slavers when they're flaked out on adding mirror miners in game? I think that may have been answered.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of law and gangs in Pyro that could come from a boxcar children's style gang amazes me. Look, I think they will flake out on slavers. I think we've already said it's more the indentured workers style rather than anything else. I think we did.
Looks like it'll take me about 3 minutes to execute.
Yeah, I can't. Pinewood's in the dark too, so I'm gonna go somewhere else. Sorry, Algared.
So I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything else to that, but I think we actually.
I think it's obvious, and I agree with you, Algared. Yes.
Scrolling down the list, we've got another question. This one is jumped up. 102. That has raced ahead. So.
You know, if you joined the question bot Discord, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
That meant doing 5 things at a time, and I can't see the invite, so I'm just.
It's in your DMs.
It's in your DMs. He PM'd it to you privately.
Yeah, but that means I've got to change the Discord channel, so no. Just suck it up, princess. That's all I say.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to change. It literally just adds another Discord to your list, and you can view it while you're talking this one.
I'll do it later.
All right.
You guys think we'll ever have a capital refuel?
I think the Starfarer is the capital refueler.
I think there will be other refuelers. There might be some the same size as the Starfarer. I don't know. We will be. But wait and see.
Yeah.
And when they rework the Starfarer, we might find it's made even bigger. So who knows? Scrolling down a bit further. My voice is lower than normal. I'm sorry about that.
I've actually got you turned up to 135%, so you're actually louder than you are normally. So not my end.
Quieter, but yeah, don't know why. But if that is the case, I apologise.
Yep.
Could be my voice is feeling a bit.
Speaking
through a mask is a horrible thing.
Yes.
Those plays well and on time, absolutely. I agree, and it also looks like outback Australia, so out in the area. Wonderful.
Yeah.
The reason Paul calls me Old Man Hurston is when we cross the 200 million mark. Jokingly, oh, do I get a moon now? And she said, what do you want, Hurston? And I said, I've a strip mine. Foolishly, I should have said absolutely, but as a result of that story, Paul called. I now play.
I've turned you up to 100.
Hurston talks like my impression of
I've turned you up to 150% Algared and Piggles. A place called Opariel, Oparei, and it's in the daytime. Oparei, is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, okay, well that's where I am.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Someone else said another question from Project 27. Question: on the fence to upgrade MSR Daily Driver to either 600X or CAT. 600 is getting rework and it's tempting, but we also don't know if those CAT modules are official. We do know the CAT is getting modules.
We just can't tell you which one. Yeah.
We just don't know what ones they're getting. So we do know the CAT is getting modules. We have seen work on the modules in the past, and they had a whole slew of them, from medical to chop shop to living to barracks to.
Yeah. Watch the ship scrutiny we did.
So go into our channel, look up ship scrutiny, look at the CAT, and we actually went back and watched all the videos on the CAT and pulled.
Yeah, you'll learn some stuff about the Titan suits too on that video as well. We did a whole bunch on that too, didn't we?
The 600i Executive or Explorer, yes, it's getting a rework. I actually think what we'll find is the cabins that are in the regular touring version will actually become the crew quarters rather than the passenger quarters, and the rest of the ship turned into exploration. On the touring one, you'll still get the cabins at the top for the crew, and the cabins for passengers will be made. But I definitely think that the 600i will be a wonderful ship, hopefully, when it's redone. Sitting on the fence, yeah, it's a tough call. The MSR is a lovely.
If in doubt, pick up CCUs to both and wait.
Yep.
That's what I'd say.
And so MSR or CAT, 100i, pick up a CCU timeout. Borrow a CAT off someone.
Yeah.
Try the CAT out.
But I mean, sit on the CCUs so you don't get stuck on the one. You hold in the price, and as Algared said, try someone else's out. There is not a single person in this game that doesn't like showing you their shit. Not a single person.
And there are still people who will let you. Yeah, take it for a fly.
Oh no, Algared and I will if we have it, wouldn't we, Algared? So yeah, hit us up if you can't.
Hit us up.
I've done that multiple times as well. I think anyone is.
Yep. So people might be a bit less tempting now because of the way or it's a bit harder now because of the it's my ships are microtech, so it's a bit harder. You've got to go and reclaim.
Algared, where did you go? You in the turret? You're in the turret, aren't you? Oh, I was about to say, man, that's the only place you could be. He totally disappeared on me. I was like, oh, did I drop him? I hope it didn't break him.
Well, he could have. I was watching the stream.
Okay, it's all good. All right, well, his Piggles in his fancy 400i. Fancy. All right, I think we're gonna have a fight with the 400i with the Drake Cutlass and see who wins. Just for shits and giggles. I expect you to win. By the way, if you lose, it'll be hilarious.
Just for shit.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting this thing.
Ah! What a cop out.
Doesn't want to damage your ship.
No, he just don't want to be humiliated. That's what it is.
I might scratch the paint.
Oh, for fuck's sake, scratch the paint.
Look, and we know Execute, but
the
400i is not a ship for combat, it's a ship for fleeing. That's why its turrets are at the back facing the rear.
Yeah. You can tell that everyone's playing Xenothreat, though, because all of us, look, even me, are in noob suits, because no one gives a shit. It's quite funny. All right.
I think I left all of my actual gear in at New Babbage.
Yeah, well, I even took my gun and just in case we died, because I ain't to have to hunt some stuff down again.
Algared, would you mind spawning a dragonfly just so we can do like a comparison? Because I don't know if you guys disagree with me, but I think that's the closest bike in comparison because of the storage. It's the only other shit that's got storage.
Look, I was looking at them. And looking at the design, and as you said it, I went, yeah.
I can grab a Nox as well if you want to compare the two as well.
Yeah, we can do that too. Well, whoa, what the fuck? Oh, because I was out on the pad, it pulled me inside.
You want to take that?
Well, I'll take that. No, I've got to go back out there. Just give me a hot minute.
Yeah. Take the hoverquad off, and then I'll grab.
Yep.
Grab the Nox.
So, just first impression, it's definitely shorter than the others. But it's fatter.
But it's square.
She's stubby. Oh wait, I got to turn it on. That would help, wouldn't it?
What would be worth doing? Because we did ask this question. Before I pull out the dragonfly.
So even at the default, I know I can take it lower, isn't it? Is it crouch? Yeah. So that, to me, I would say a normal height for a hover bike would be like here. their default is like up here. Like it's too high for me. Like that, I'd say something like that would be what we're like. Because let's be honest, everyone's going to compare this shit to Star Wars. That's just how it is. But if I also go back in here and I dial this up to 11, I'll be right back, guys. That's too fast. It says it's only 200, but it feels a shitload more faster than that. Yep. And you can get stuck in trees. That's the other thing. It just feels a lot faster than actually is. Maybe it's me just complaining. I've already lost you too. I've got to come back. There we go. But like at its default height, so if I put this back to space, right, that just feels weird. And you end up getting these things where when you, like at the moment I'm on flat ground, if I go over something like this, watch how it just vaults me into the air. That's not a hover bike. That's, I don't know what that is. A boomerang because it just did a huge ass U? I got no idea. Anyway, one thing I've also noticed too is this thing's got thrusters all over it, unlike everything before it. Like if you look at the Dragonfly, it's got these tiny little thrusters that they look like they added. But yeah, I don't know. I know I'm bitching, but I'm hoping that it's going to get fixed. All right, where's... What do you want, Pickles? You're on the Nox. So if we put this side by side, I think you would say safely that Nox is a lot longer.
Let's run up on this pad here. So it's
on the pad? Roger, coming. This thing's a little drifty, not going to lie. So I'll park on this yellow line, and you park on the other yellow line. Then we can put them next to each other, if you get my drift. And I'll put mine at the tip at the back, so to speak. And then if I go side on, I think we can safely say the Nox is longer.
Nox is definitely longer.
Yeah.
Let me drift up next to you.
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm trying to just remain stationary, but it's a little drifty. Yeah. Oh, it's not as long as I thought it was, though. It's definitely sleeker. I would say they're the same kind of mass type of thing. You get what I mean? Like,
okay. Now we were talking before that we thought that it looked.
I wanted a dragon. Algared, can you?
I know you wanted a dragonfly.
Yeah. So can you get the dragonfly first, please?
I will get it. But I've already got the rock.
Yeah, but I need the dragonfly because we're all here waiting.
Just put that bike up against the rocks. Comparison. Already talked about whether it was the same size or all that, and I have a feeling it's basically the same size. May as well put it up there because the rock's already.
You have a dragonfly as well, Pickles?
No.
Yeah, I don't. I think I might have one.
Just move the thing I like rock and have a look and just look at the sides. And once you've done that, I'll pull up the dragonfly. I've got to reclaim it because it doesn't let me do it.
Hang on, I'll just drive the rock off, and you can get the dragonfly. All right.
The thing I like about the hoverboard is how wide it is. So when you put it down in a ship, it's very stable. On
yeah, she feels,
which is very thin, so she's prone to tipping over.
I think it's definitely a lot more stable than some of the other stuff. That is 100% correct.
And of course, the Nox is quicker, nippier, you name it, but it's very planted.
So, can you just check the back wheels are at the back with the?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, actually, it needs to go on the other side for shadow purposes. I've just realized.
Well,
it won't look.
Dragonfly is
The dragonfly not just 6 seconds.
rock is 12.
That's gonna break the bank. Not. Is that about right, Pickles? From your.
What are you aiming for? The front?
I'm trying to get the back wheels just lined up. That's all. All right. I think we're just with the yellow line. I just want everything lined up. The back's lined up. So yeah, your Nox needs to go a little forward, but that's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, the rock is shitloads bigger than both of them.
But in that artwork.
Yeah. You just chuck the dragonfly in the middle, Algared, and try and line the backs up. I'm just going to move this one
try and do that.
forward a little bit.
How long it's been since I dragonfly?
Too long. Oh, why is this not working? Press R. Why is it not?
Press I.
I? Oh, you turn the engine.
Yeah. Because the engines are off.
Is that lined up? Can you... Up there?
I don't know what you're trying to line up.
The back of everything. It's trying to be...
Forwards. Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I thought that was really clear that I was trying to line the back of everything up. Alright, so they're lined up. What the... That's not lined up. Pickles, you're on crack.
You said you wanted the back along with the back of the line.
No, the back of
lined up, not the front.
Yeah. The backs of them. So this is now way far back. I'll just try to do it myself. Yeah, it'd be about there. Engine off. There we go. That's better. That's better. Yeah, so hold control, and it'll take you down. And then turn slightly to your left because you're crooked. Yep, and then shimmy across like half an inch to your right. No, not to the left, to the right. That's it. And then, yep. Oh, and just go forward, mate. Go forward. Forward. Keep going forward. At half a bike length, no, less than half now. But just keep going forward, quite a bit more. Slow. Now, two more forward. Yep, sit. Yep, one. Keep going. One more. Yep, stop. Yep, just turn it off there. So press I to turn off the engine, and then it'll drop down, and then you can get off. There you go. And then just get off, and you're good. Yeah, plum. I still like the Dragonfly look more than the other two. But maybe I'm biased.
I'm not really a big fan of the Dragonfly.
Yeah, but it's Drake aesthetic. I'm not like fully into Drake, but I just like the 4x4 look. It does look more like a hoverbike from Star Wars.
It looks.
That's probably why I like it more.
Utilitarian.
Yeah.
It does look more like the Star Wars hoverbike.
But I can see the appeal of the others to people too. Like I can see why people like the Nox because it does look like a street bike, and I can see this does look like a quad bike. It does.
The appeal of the Nox to me is as a racer.
The quad bike does look to me like a snowmobile.
Yeah, it does. It does too. A quad bike snowmobile. Yeah.
If it had wheels, it'd just look like one of those quad vehicles.
Yeah.
A hoverbike, it really does have that snowmobile.
If you took off these front two skids on the Dragonfly, it would just look straight out of Star Wars. If they just took these two off the front.
Yep.
You got to kind of picture it a little bit, but
if you took those two off the front and it looked just like a hoverbike from Star Wars, then they'd get sued.
You probably. Yeah.
So, yes, it is the Star Wars hoverbike with 4 engines. Make it look like it's
just I don't know why that one. Hang on. Oh, yeah, you've obviously got the extra seat. I got on the wrong one.
And you got the pilly.
I just want to turn the engines on but get off them because that first bike... No, I don't want the passenger seat. I want the other one. Oh, it's just really tiny. Engine on.
The height, the default height is...
Oh, yeah, it's way too high on both. Why won't this let me on? I'm trying to turn... I want to turn the engines on, but then I want to get off it because I want to see the thrusters. So... There's no flight ready. Alright, now there is. So now if I just get off, it should be on, but with the thrusters on. So see the thrusters here, they are tiny on the Dragonfly. They're like little air thrusters. This thing is huge, and then the Nox I would say is somewhere in the middle. I think the Nox is the best of all three. Just from a thruster, I'm talking purely thrusters here, but think about it. Dragonfly was first, Nox was later. This is more advanced again. So I think they've gone too far with the thrusters on this. Personally, I think they're too big. I think they're too. I don't know, but I think
just kind of a design perspective and just trying to make it look nice, really.
Yeah, I think the Nox looks better personally. But maybe that's the tech too. The Dragonfly just uses air thrust, not chemical thrusters or whatever.
Well, it's certainly not using. But they certainly do seem to be more air rather than, don't they?
Yeah.
And it really does the fact that they, the Nox and the body using the same energy. It does say this is alien tech.
So it says 125k SCU. And then let's see what's on the Dragonfly, because I know the Dragonfly's got storage.
There's another storage box.
Where's the?
It's got 2 boxes.
Oh, does it? Okay, so why can't you open the? You can't open the Dragonfly ones?
Nope.
So we just don't know yet. Okay. But I would imagine, like, you've got these 2 little crates. That's your little. I would have to say that that's bigger, surely. I'd say it's got to be at least double, wouldn't you? If you guys were like looking at the back of this, take the height into account and all that stuff, you would imagine that's double of what this is. And that makes sense. You're losing all your guns to get double cargo. And can't carry 2 people. You think the quad is a success? Okay.
Love Nox and G12 says
as Space says, not everyone in this game. You need things that you hate for this game to succeed, because it's got to appeal to everyone.
I can remember when the G12 came out. I liked the look of it. I really thought, oh, this is a medium. This is in between the Ursa and the others.
Yep.
And you expected it, but then when you looked at the side of them, you went, "Oh, this is wider than an Ursa, which means it's not going to fit in."
Yep.
In ships that the Ursa fits
in.
And it's not that much shorter, and so kind of lost that medium aspect that really. But I love the look of the racing. That just said to me, rally car. That's what it seemed to.
So Piggles, are you going to be getting ready of your Nox to get a hover quad?
Oh, I've already got the hover quad.
Oh, so you got both of them, and they kind of do speak to your aesthetic, right? So that's why you don't have a Dragonfly, because you get what I'm trying to.
Fan of like the alien technology kind of look.
So what? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I know you are, but I'm just saying that you would agree though. You've got to have things that appeal to everyone, yeah.
Yeah. The Dragonfly has just never really spoken to me.
Eduardo said in the chat that the Dragonfly, not the Dragonfly, the Nox is Robocop. And I can see that. It's Robocop.
I can see that.
Right. Yep. And I can see that. Yep. He says the quad is a Cybertruck. No, the quad is not a Cybertruck. I think that Nomad is just a Cybertruck.
If they made a bike, or if Elon made an electronic bike, it would still be more like this.
They actually they made a quad bike with the aesthetic of the Cybertruck, of the marketing thing.
That's probably why we've got this one. They've just copied it. I'm just noticing something here, is that the Dragonfly has its serial number. Don't see a serial number on the other 2 yet, unless it's just me. I don't see one on this. Go ahead, Algared.
The Dragonfly should fold like it did in the original artwork.
It will. It will. You got to remember that it hasn't had its second pass yet.
Yep. I did like how when they did one of the first vertical slices, and you were on the wreck of the Starfarer, and you opened the crate, and then opened up the Dragonfly and flew away. It would be nice to be able to see that. And I think that certainly hints at where they want to go.
Algared, I also think when this actually packs up, I think it will be relatively similar size to the quad. Like if you kind of look at how these rotate, so they're going to rotate down and fold in, and that's going to rotate down and come into this space in here. You can envision these, it won't go all the way back, but I'd say probably to this line back. If you look at that line, and then you also got to take some off the back, so it'll probably come back to that line. That'll be very similar in size.
Shrink down to the length of that, take off the engines, and it's that length of that chassis itself.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice.
Yeah, very similar in size. Probably a bit longer, but it's definitely.
Girl says, "I'll wait for my X1," and you're waiting a long time.
I'm hoping the X1's saving grace, right? Is how the G12 has an enclosed cab, so you can take it on like a gassy planet. That has to be a thing for the X1. For that bike to actually have a place in the game, it's got to have a closed cab. So you basically, it's the bike that you buy for super hazardous environments. And the funny thing is, that's not Origin, because Origin is touring and luxury. That's the last thing where you'd want to take an Origin ship, but it makes the most sense. Have a closed cab.
So you're seeing it like a Messerschmitt.
I don't know what that is. Don't swear at me, sir. That's just rude.
No. Messerschmitt were the guys who were building, fighters for Germany in World War II. But after World War II, my understanding is they had a whole pile of the cabs left. Thanks. I only know about the Messerschmitt. My dad used to tell stories about having a Messerschmitt when he was younger. And it was basically his motorbike.
Oh, okay.
And then when you look them up, they're worth an absolute.
Oh,
I wish I. Well, if I'd had a Messerschmitt, I'd be living.
You'd have a thing too, wouldn't you? An X1 as well, Pickles, wouldn't you?
Not really a fan of the X1 personally.
Oh, really? Why so?
Just think it looks a little strange.
But you're going to have to buy one because of this 400i, because nothing else fits in it.
Oh no, the Nox fits in there.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be too long for that.
No, it fits. I put it in there.
The Nox does fit in the 400.
Yeah.
I know at one point it didn't. I made it so the Nox would fit, and then
it does fit. But it's. Well, I haven't tried it since the Gravlev rework, but previously it did fit, but it got really janky in the lift on the way up because of the really bad Gravlev physics.
Yeah, and I think you'd have found the same with the inflation, just with the way that the lift.
Yeah, it's just because the Gravlev physics were so janky that it. What are you doing with my ship Execute?
All right, you guys have fun. Bye now.
Like he likes to be.
Oh, we're in an arms zone. I can't shoot shit. All right, so we're gonna turn the fight around. You guys are gonna fight me because he wouldn't fight me. So if you want your ship back, you're gonna have to fight me.
I mean, I could just claim it.
You could, but you've got to go somewhere to claim it.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna escape in the Cutlass?
Yeah, when I log out, it'll just send me back to New Balance. You
pussy whipped snowflake. All right, whatever. Man, this thing is wafty. Yeah.
It's deceptively large. It's bigger than it looks.
Yep.
I'm not sure who's the Drake boy, Shadow Girl.
I'm not anyone. I as I said, I will pick a ship on what it's based on. And they bring out an Origin ship that changes my mind, I'll tell you about it. And I'll still say that this 400i is the most luxurious thing they've done. This is the thing that actually fits most with what they said it was. But then it just doesn't have the gameplay because they also took a play the VIP gameplay for it anyway. So yeah.
For me, it's just a runabout that I can take a couple of buddies around on.
Yep.
It is for me. It's a luxury version of a Connie or a Drake version.
Yep.
You look at what they do. They're very similar in what they do, and they trade off. One trades off cargo. One trades off. And they're one half a dozen of other, but they're very similar in what they're doing and how they're doing it.
All right, I'm just going to put the call out right now. Last questions because it's been 3 hours. So we've already gone 20 minutes over where we were planning to go. So if you've got any hot questions, chuck them in. any questions that come up?
I'm still very quiet, but nothing we can do about that.
I've turned it up twice. So it's something on Algared's end, and he is not, no offense, but Algared will tell you this, he's not the most technologically savvy gentleman. And so
Right, so question.
have to make do. Yep, go for it.
You answered my question on the capital refueler, but what about the capital repair ship? The Crucible is supposed to be...
Crucible is the capital. It is 100%. It's the capital repair ship.
Its design is for repairing ships like the Idris and the Javelin. And if you need anything bigger than that, you're taking it to a fleet repair yard like place for Xenothreat.
I do like this black skin, Piggles. It's kind of cool. I just wish they didn't have that white bit where the X1 ramp is, but I think that's a bug.
Yeah, no, it is actually meant to be black. It's just sometimes turns white. It is normally black.
Yeah. It needs a bit more gold tints on it though. Like
I quite like it. I'm not a fan of having gold.
Just a little bit up the front. Just a little bit something up the front. I don't know where, but just it's a bit too black up the front.
I feel like having gold everywhere is just a bit bawdy.
Dr. No said he likes the 400, but when you have a 600i Explorer, it's kind of meh. Yes, but at the moment, the 600i Explorer's interior is absolute rubbish. 100s is beautiful, and it's also a cheaper ship. So, but as you said, if you've already got it, then why do you want it? And well, for me, it does look to me it has the vibes of a Naboo diplomatic shuttle.
The a good guy was saying about the Crucible's 100% going to grow in size. Yeah, we've been saying that for years, bro. 100%. We've been saying it because it's on the old metrics. And the only two things left are the Endeavor and the Crucible on that. So they have to get bigger.
And we know it's got to grow because even if you look at the wire mesh in Matrix stuff, when you look inside the Scarab, it's still got a Hornet in it. It's the old Hornet. So now it's got to grow for that. Just for that, it'll grow, and then components, other things it'll grow. How much it grows and how much that influences size, other things we don't know, but it is a capital repair ship made for repair. You know, the idea is that it the Idris, Javelin.
Yep. And everything in between. It'll do vehicles. It'll do everything.
And their idea was that you'd have form of these fixed angle.
Yep, exactly. Again, I'll relay back to our ship scrutiny episodes because we go over all these things in a lot of detail. Yep. They're not our most popular episodes because they're kind of new-ish, but people that watch them, they're like, oh, wow, I just learned so much shit. Because we learn a lot of shit doing it, don't we, Algared?
We had certainly looking at the Crucible, we had certainly forgotten things as we looked at the Crucible. And we watched all the videos that were available on it. We read all the information that was available on it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of meshed it all together. And there were things in there that we'd forgotten that can actually access from inside the ship.
Yep.
There was actually a panel.
We lost a lot. We forgot a lot of stuff on that ship. Let's be honest. Like we had to do that in 2 parts because we did one, and then we went, "Hang on, I just found all this other shit," and so we did it again, right? And and because of that, it also we went back and did the Caterpillar one because we were like, well, we can go back and look at other ships now. Just what is the shit that we've forgotten over this 10-year period? And so we'll go back and we'll do one on the Orion as well. But you got to realize the Orion has not had anything said on it since they shrunk it. So there may be stuff there might not be. But if we can find it, we'll definitely do a video on it.
Yep.
And
so
we're bringing my ship back, Execute. I need to get back.
Crucible is definitely...
No, there's a Cutlass there, dude. I didn't abandon it. You got a Cutlass.
I don't want it. It's too slow.
Another question?
Too bad.
From Shadow Girl. It's the hottest question, apparently. That's what she says. Do you think spending extra effort to add a coffee barista in Area 18 exclusively is time and...
So basically, that's them branching out into other types of bartenders. So you got to really look at it as a sidestep. It is not. They're going to have lots of different types of people. They're also they work on what they have. If that person is free to do stuff, they work on stuff that is free. It's not you got to think of it as a team environment. It's not like It's not like, hey, let's all work on this today. It doesn't work that way. People that are free work on what they can work on. Sorry, Pickles, you're going to say?
The thing with that statement and that card is, at its surface, it's actually quite misleading because it sounds like all they're doing is just making a barista just for Area 18. But what's actually happening is, yes, the end result of that sprint may be creating the barista for Area 18, but that involves a lot of background work as well, you know, like fleshing out AI pathways and making sure this and that works and this system is in place and all that. So while, yes, it does at the surface just sound like they're doing this, it actually means a lot of progress for other parts of the product.
Exactly.
And we've already, and even though that's only going into Area 18 at the moment, if you look around Hurston, I don't think Hurston's got any, but if you look, certain Microtech's got some coffee vendors and shops, and you look on the space stations, and there are the juice sellers and other places that are selling coffee. That barista will get pollinated into those areas using the graphics feature, that characteristic. But the animations that totally different animations that the barkeep's using.
Yep.
So
you gotta also look at that.
You don't try and put it in everywhere. You just do one and get it working well, and then you put it elsewhere.
Exactly, and they'll all probably have unique personalities. You got to realize it's the same thing we were talking about as the toolbox a couple of hours ago. It's just a toolbox for AI, so it's just going to expand. And if you go, man, maybe it might be worth doing like a ship. It's not a ship scrutiny, just a scrutiny on AI. Because remember way back when they talked about all the personalities, Algared, and we were just like, what the? Because you could literally have all these things that you could link together, and you could just go, so this guy's always grumpy, but he was a veteran in this war, and so he's slightly scared of the Vandal and all this shit. And so you can basically make these like just by cross-pollinating, like turning cogs on like almost a combination lock, you can make a unique person every single time. That's amazing. Yep. That's just amazing.
And when you put in those characteristics and even the time frame of how they are, if a person's been working an 18-hour shift, they might be really grumpy now, but get them at the beginning of their shift, they might be really happy and good. And so that's another aspect. But in terms of just getting that barista working, I would rather have one barista in Area 18 to start with for one or two things and have them spend the time and really make sure it's working properly, and then have it baristas put into the other location where the baristas are or juices are, or that, rather than having 50 of them throughout the verse that are janky and don't work.
Exactly.
Because every NPC they put in, taking up bandwidth, taking up the effect, run smoothly. You know what it's like when you go into a new server, everything's running smooth. But as the server gets older, it doesn't work. Imagine if you've got broken barkeeps, coffee vendors. You're so doing one at a time makes sense. So I don't think is it a good use of time? And if you're trying to make a believable living, you're just after what would be nice to have alongside that is like working.
They did talk about that, Algared. They're actually tending to do AI that, like, the food gets stuck and they get depressed if it gets stuck, and the AI will have different schedules for that. They did all talk about that recently, which is kind of interesting. Like, he's shaking the vending machine. That could be really funny. I just beat the shit out of the vending machine.
But it'd be nice to actually have vending machines. Go to Big Benny's and you credits and you actually get a Big Benny's noodles pack or
They talked about arcade machines as well, and they could win or lose the games and get happy or depressed. So yeah, that's all going to be part of it.
Well,
I think eventually we will. Eventually, Hyper Vanguard Force. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
But I think there's two things. One,
and the other game, didn't we get the Vanguard and the Apollo game?
But to cycle back on this, I think they're using the dev time, because you're going to have guys who are sitting around who are waiting on other dev teams to finish their work.
Yeah, exactly. And so they may
rather have one AI that works really well prove that the underlying tech works well, or would you like 50 of them that T-pose every?
Well, even in a more simple level, would you rather a guy that sits around and does nothing while the other people are working? He's got to do something for his time that they pay him for. So it's why we got prisons and shit like that, because that team was just free and they had nothing to do at that time. That's why you get things in weird places. And yes, it does suck. And I'll freely admit I get very angry at prisons. Because the gameplay for the prisons is just not there. Every time I end up in prison, it's because of a bug that kills me.
Yeah.
Every time.
The fact that you end up in prison because of bugs, or basically every time I've been in prison lately is because of game causes a bug and flips the ship or onto a landing pad upside down because it has blown it, and you get the crime stat. Pets, yes, pets are coming. They were a stretch goal. Let's see.
One more question, Algared.
Do you guys think that we'll get pets anytime soon? We will get pets. Don't know when.
Yeah, they're going to be on the back burner because they're AI, and they got to go. It's when they get AI going through ships. It's probably when you'll see pets, because they've got to go everywhere with you. They've got to be able to follow you. So that might be one of the very last AIs we ever see. All right, I'm going to kind of wrap it up here, Algared.
And that's our last question. That was our last
question. That was the last
question.
question.
Too bad if anyone else had a question.
I have been streaming on Twitch, and I don't know how to advertise this, so I'm just going to advertise here. I'm looking at giving away a ship between $650 to $750. I don't know when the cutoff will be, but if you want to... So those ships are things like a Hammerhead, a Nautilus, a Polaris, an Odyssey. There's like 6 of them, and the Nautilus, that was the other one. So if you... And what I'll do is when that person wins it, I'll build it live on stream and then gift it to them. Right, so that's something I'm trying to give away on Twitch. So if you do want to win one, come and hang out with me on there. I'm not on there a lot. I might anytime stream once a week. But I am looking at probably starting to stream on YouTube as well. So if you want to win a ship, I'm only bringing this up because Shadow Girl was talking about wanting to get a Polaris. It might be a good way for you to get one. Yep. Anything you want to talk about, Algared?
I do want to say Dr. No's comment about the AI.
Mm-hmm.
Picking up what you're saying, and I overthrow the machine out there a lot because it doesn't work.
Yep.
So yes.
I want to say thank you to Piggles and Can for joining us. Thanks for hanging out.
And we've also got to chuck a thank you up to.
Yep.
Here for enjoying the foolery and skill and taking him up.
Yes, Silent Stuff, I think you did just walk in at the end, man, but it'll be directly up on YouTube straight away. So you can watch it on there. But we will be back on Monday for the questions one. As I said, I don't know if we have to... This is all tests for us. We've never done anything like this before. So if the Monday one kind of dies off and there's not as many questions to keep that show going, then we'll probably merge it into just the Friday show. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing at least once a week right now. And we'll take your questions. We'll try and get that bot working for next time. I'm pretty sure Piggles is going to get on that pretty quick. And then...
He tells us he's got it working. He does
yeah.
it is working.
It's working right now. You just haven't been looking at it.
Well, I'm not the one taking the questions. You've got to blame Algared. As I said, he's not very technological savvy, but we'll get it set up and Algared can use that next time. But yeah. All right. With that then, we'll love you and leave you. He's been Algared. The voices are Piggles and Can.
I've got to say, don't forget when it's up, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Haven't already subscribed. If you really like what we do, go the extra mile. Join us on Patreon.
Yeah. We are not good at self-promotion. That is something we are terrible at. We don't. We have to.
Telling us off.
Yeah, like why don't you push yourself more? We got the mods telling us and stuff sometimes too. They're like, why don't you do it?
That's me trying to take on their advice.
Yeah.
Harder. So
yeah,
we'd love you to join us. But
yeah, we are going to get YouTube. We are going to get YouTube memberships going as well, just because the YouTube crowd. But we're waiting on them to be approved by YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. All right then. He's been Algared. Piggles is the voice, as is Can, and I've been Execute. And we'll
Execute.
catch you in the next one.
Out of here.